A choked gasp escapes into the sudden, terrifying silence, followed by desperate cries for help as the world begins to rumble and collapse around them. More screams echo through the darkness, punctuated by the deafening crash of destruction. Panic erupts as a monstrous figure looms over fleeing civilians, their desperate cries confirming the terrifying reality: a monster has appeared. And just like that, one day, the world changed forever. A guttural roar tears through the air, revealing the sheer, terrifying scale of the creature's power. Monsters appeared upon the whole world, not just in isolated incidents, but everywhere. A dark, ominous presence now hangs over the cities, a rumbling threat that signals the dawn of a new, terrifying era. As the monsters ravaged the world, something else, equally inexplicable, suddenly materialized, its presence heralded by the distant rumble of a passing aircraft. Observers noted the unprecedented number of children among the affected, yet a grim realization dawned. The true problem wasn't merely the monstrous entities themselves, but the mysterious phenomenon accompanying them. Within a mere week of the monster's arrival, governments crumbled, leaving the remaining populace to fend for themselves, while those who desperately sought escape found their paths blocked, their hopes extinguished. The world questioned its very existence, pondering how the fate of mankind could possibly change after such an unjust and undeserved catastrophe. Towering over the devastated landscape, a colossal, dark structure pulsed with an ominous purple glow, a silent monument to humanity's new, terrifying reality. This was the first encounter between mankind and the enigmatic tutorial tower, a confrontation that would forever alter the course of history. At regular, terrifying intervals, this imposing structure began to forcibly drag humans from every corner of the globe, their screams echoing as they were pulled into the unknown. A blinding flash of blue energy marked each abduction, a chilling testament to the tower's inexplicable power. A gasp escapes as a figure plummets through a dark, star-flecked void, caught in a merciless selection and able test that disregards all physical condition. Humans are forcibly drawn into this unknown, their faces etched with terror. They look up in fear, helpless against the unseen force pulling them away. The harsh selection continues, as individuals are tested without regard for their physical state. Yet, among the mere 20% who survive, a new breed emerges, the survivors of the tower. These individuals, including Hyun-Yu Kim, stand transformed, now hunters. They possess special abilities, becoming the new hope of mankind. All of this unfolds under the silent, imposing gaze of the tutorial tower. The colossal structure looms over the world, a stark monument to humanity's new reality. 12 years have passed since the tutorial tower was first cleared. And now, monstrous creatures with gaping maws and multiple eyes unleash guttural roars, charging forward with a frantic scuttling, only to be met by a sudden, tearing impact of vibrant purple energy. A hand glows intensely, crackling with the raw power of that same violet force. As a voice exclaims, "It's a hunter." Later, amidst a bustling street, the young man stands, engrossed in his phone, while onlookers excitedly point and shout, "He came," and plead for his attention. Following the rise of powerful individuals, the hunter quickly became an idol to humanity. With cameras clicking around them, they were celebrated figures. Indeed, an individual hunter could achieve the same fame and fortune as any celebrity. Recognizing their immense power, nations did not neglect their mighty strength. News reports discussed new hunter management special laws, as many citizens mused how wonderful it would be to become a hunter themselves. Thus, a new era dawned, where the number of hunters became an integral part of a nation's power. Hunters, organized into associations and guilds, proudly took on the responsibility to protect their nations from monsters, their efforts captured by constant camera flashes. But then, a twist, a new development, a single, crucial moment. With a decisive gesture, it was time for action. Welcome to Knowing the Hunter broadcast, where host Ha-Young Lee introduces the top guild leaders of Korea as her special guests. She continues, explaining that this week's show will delve into the latest big news, the kind that viewers are most curious about. The camera pulls back, revealing the full studio set, confirming that the top guild leaders of Korea are indeed present for the segment. One of the guild leaders offers a polite greeting, while Ha-Young Lee charmingly asks for the audience's continued support. The focus shifts to Si-hyun Kim, the esteemed guild leader of the Daehan Guild, as he sits composedly on the set. The broadcast, Knowing the Hunter, designed around the immense popularity of hunters, recently achieved a milestone of 1 million views, thanks to overwhelming public support. A graphic displays the show's title, Knowing the Hunter, alongside the topic for the current week, this week's monster. Ha-Young Lee, holding her tablet, discusses a new development, suggesting that it seems like there's a new hunter on the scene. She then poses a question to her guests, inquiring if this new hunter is perhaps from the Daehan Guild. Ha-Young Lee presses the guild leader, asking if the new hunter is truly unaffiliated with the Daehan Guild, especially given the recent surge in public interest. She continues, wondering aloud if the hunter's identity is being kept secret to avoid public scrutiny, or perhaps to maintain an air of mystery. Si-hyun Kim responds with a slight smile, acknowledging the host's sharp observations but maintaining a calm demeanor. Ha-Young Lee then shifts her focus, inquiring about the hunter's true identity and their connection to the tower. Si-Hyun Kim explains that the hunter is an occasional pioneer, someone who clears the tower repeatedly for rewards, their fully unveiled identity remaining a secret. He adds that the hunter's actions are not for fame, but for the rewards gained from conquering the tower. Ha-Young Lee, looking intrigued, confirms her understanding of the situation. Si-Hyun Kim simply affirms her statement, his expression unreadable. As the discussion continues, the narrative shifts to a dark, cavernous space, revealing the entrance to the tower itself, a place where the hunter's true power comes to light. The conversation continues, revealing a fundamental rule. No single hunter can be used for more than 5 years, yet the one who cleared the tower half a decade ago remains active. Si-Hyun Kim, his expression thoughtful, explains that despite his immense power, this hunter cares nothing for rewards, clearing the tower only once a year. The revelation hangs in the air, as the first floor of the tower has been cleared 100 times within a single year, prompting a shocked exclamation. A soft boof sound punctuates the thought that he must be incredibly powerful, especially since he accepts no rewards for his efforts. Suddenly, the scene shifts to chaos within the tower, as a knight is violently thrown by an unseen force, a deafening quagwagwang echoing through the cavern. The desperate question rings out, asking how anyone is supposed to face such a thing, as the relentless assault continues again and again. Figures cry out for help, some lamenting being dragged into this nightmare, pleading for salvation amidst the overwhelming onslaught. One terrified face questions how this could possibly be a tutorial, realizing with horror that they are all going to die. But then, a powerful quack erupts as Ha-Young Kim, moving with incredible speed, delivers a devastating blow to a monstrous, shadowy figure, a heavy huyuke sound accompanying the impact. He moves with blinding speed, a blur of purple energy trailing behind him. Before his feet slam down, kicking up dust as he comes to a sudden halt. His gaze sharpens, eyes glowing faintly with intense focus. A system message flashes, revealing the tutorial floor 100, final test monster, as the upper half of a colossal, fiery demon begins to emerge. Its lower body follows, engulfed in a blazing aura. The monster, Balok, fully manifests with a guttural roar. He observes the creature, thinking he'll have to climb above a certain threshold to defeat it. Balok's fiery head looms, its red eyes burning with malice. He considers the challenge, realizing, I'm going to have to climb above A. Meanwhile, an external voice, Saik, questions, what the hell is that advanced player or something? How can he clear the 100th floor? Another voice adds, our 960 Yun guild has 300 hunters, but we can get at least an A3. Even with that, you have to lose out of 10 to reach that far. He types with practiced ease, the rhythmic clicks of the keyboard filling the quiet room, as a thought crosses his mind. If it were an S-rank hunter, they could surely make a mountain explode with their abilities. He, a B-rank hunter himself, recalls a memory from 2 years prior, when he witnessed the guild master clear a dungeon, their rooms overlapping in the virtual space. This incredible feat, he knows, is a skill from a Korean game, completely great in. He remembers his own struggles, like on the 73rd floor, where 3 werewolves emerged, but he pressed forward alone, defeating them all. Meanwhile, another observer, tapping on their phone, agrees, having also witnessed the guildmaster's power and concluding that he is no mere human. The observer continues, reflecting on their own experience of falling into a dungeon a year ago, and how the guildmaster is truly an advanced player. As if to prove the point, Ha-Young Kim unleashes a powerful, blue ore-infused high kick. A strike so potent that it seems to distort the very air around him, creating a vacuum on the 10th floor. It's a phenomenon that makes one wonder if such a thing is even possible. The impact reverberates with a deafening crack. Ha-Young Kim launches himself into the air, a powerful kick already in motion, leaving a trail of crimson energy in his wake. As his foot connects with Balok, a red aura flares around him, forcing the monstrous entity to recoil with a guttural roar. The creature groans, still reeling from the impact, its massive form momentarily obscured by a cloud of dust. Before Balok can recover, Ha-Young Kim closes the distance, delivering another devastating blow with a hand glowing fiercely red. With the monster subdued, his eyes glow with an unsettling red light as he grins, taunting his opponent. Who's a real man? It's me. I'm a foo asterisk 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 man. He looks down with disdain, his voice dripping with contempt. How foo asterisk 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 asterisk? Foo asterisk 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 it. A wide, almost crazed laugh escapes him as he declares, I'm a 12 out of 10 points man. A system message flashes, confirming the Balok subjugatation. Blood splatters across the scene, as the final system notification announces, Balok subjugatation completed last blow. Having delivered the final, decisive blow with a powerful slipper stamping technique, Ha-Young Kim stands silently over the smoldering remains of Balok, the monster's form still radiating residual heat and smoke. A soft sigh escapes him, a quiet exhalation of effort and perhaps relief, as the adrenaline begins to recede. Over the last decade, the time it took to clear the tutorial towers has steadily decreased, as the content within them remains unchanged. This consistency has allowed hunter groups to accumulate vast knowledge on how to conquer them, leading to faster clearances and a growing global database of strategies. This critical information is then shared across the world, allowing new unions to achieve world records and open doors to reduced conquest strategies. In many countries, this shared conquest content is actively disseminated to citizens, significantly raising the overall survival rate for everyone. Despite the concerted efforts to cultivate exceptional hunters and the widespread dissemination of refined conquest strategies, a deafening explosion echoes through the tower, the sheer destructive power of the challenges remaining a constant threat. Even for those who manage to conquer the tutorial tower, a heavy impact reverberates. The journey is fraught with peril. Many hunters, even those considered trainers, have sacrificed their lives simply reaching the 99th floor. All for the ultimate challenge, the last test. This final trial is overseen by Balok, the formidable owner of the tutorial tower, a test so brutal that only 70 out of 95 challengers typically survive. The feared existence, responsible for snatching the lives of more than half of the would-be hunters, reveals itself with a single, glowing crimson eye. Its presence alone sends a wave of pure terror through one unfortunate soul, whose face contorts in a silent scream. The air itself seems to crackle with destructive energy, as deafening impacts echo through the space. A monstrous form lashes out with red-tinged power, striking down another hunter with brutal force. Its glowing red eyes fixate on its prey, overwhelming them completely. Amidst the scattered debris and the sounds of destruction, Hyun-Yu Kim lands with a soft thud. Nearby, another armored hunter cowers on the ground, their face etched with pure terror. Hyun-Yu Kim takes in the devastating scene, his gaze hardening with resolve. A vibrant purple aura flares around him, as he declares, "With this, it's pretty much clear." With a sharp intake of breath, he fixes his gaze on something unseen. Before turning to face a swirling, vibrant purple vortex, a soft fume escaping his lips as he prepares to step into the unknown. His eyes close for a moment, then snap open, revealing irises now burning with a fierce, reddish glow, ready for whatever lies beyond. As he steps into the dark, echoing entrance, a voice echoes, "Welcome to the tutorial tower," marking the 1960th start of his arduous journey. As he steps into the unknown, a confident smirk plays on his lips. Hyun-Yu Kim lets out a low, knowing chuckle. But the moment is fleeting as he finds himself abruptly seated in a dimly lit, stone chamber, a single light source casting long shadows around him. Before he can even process his surroundings, the ground beneath him gives way, sending him plummeting into a vast, dark abyss with a terrified cry. The wind whips past him as he falls, a desperate plea escaping his lips, begging to be sent back home. The fall ends with a jarring impact, leaving him sprawled and dazed on the cold ground, a soft sound echoing in the sudden silence. Regaining his senses, he forces his eyes open and, with a surge of determination, calls out for his status window, hoping for answers. 12 years ago, the tutorial tower was a different beast entirely. A monstrous entity, wreathed in crackling energy, stood against a group of determined adventurers. Their faces etched with a mix of fear and resolve as they pushed through the final challenge. Finally, a system message declared the tutorial tower cleared. "Congratulations." A voice, filled with disbelief, questioned if they had truly made it. Jubilation erupted among the survivors, one of them shouting with relief that they could finally go home. As they stood before a shimmering purple portal, another adventurer reflected that without Hyun-Yu Kim, they wouldn't have even dreamed of surviving such an ordeal. Later, Si-Hyun Kim, with a knowing smirk, dismissed the idea of simply announcing their new status to the world, insisting that compensation would be handled discreetly and that everyone, even those abroad, must be contacted by all means necessary. Suddenly, a stark system message appeared, declaring, "Welcome to the tutorial tower." He finds himself disoriented, questioning his surroundings. The desolate street offers no answers, leaving him to wonder where everyone has gone. A towering structure looms in the distance, a familiar yet unwelcome sight, as Hyun-Yu Kim realizes he must once again confront the tutorial tower, this time with others. A system window appears, revealing his status as a tutorial player and the grim news that he has acquired the curse of the tower, a revelation that leaves him stunned. Suddenly, a small creature appears, and a strange blue energy emanates from his hand, catching both him and the monster by surprise. After an initial wave of anger and disbelief, he begins to accept his new reality. With newfound resolve, he presses his hands against a glowing interface, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead. Hyun-Yu Kim embarks on a solitary quest, determined to break free from the curse that binds him. Standing amidst the ruins of a ravaged city, he contemplates the daunting task of clearing the tower from start to finish, alone, wondering if such a feat is truly possible. Despite his repeated, desperate attempts, Hyun-Yu Kim continues to hack at the unyielding stone walls with his knife, determined to split them open. Suddenly, a loud cracking sound echoes through the chamber, as stone pillars around him begin to crumble and break apart. Yet, despite the dramatic collapse, none of his efforts truly yield a way out. Every plan, every desperate scheme he concocts, ultimately fails to provide an escape from his cursed predicament. With a grim, almost resigned laugh, Hyun-Yu Kim finds himself not just desperately seeking freedom from his curse, but also embracing the bizarre reality of his situation. As he settles into this new mindset, the tower reveals more of its inhabitants. Small, unnamed goblins begin to appear. A spectral, skull-like entity with glowing purple eyes materializes, its voice echoing with a challenge. This is a quest for you. This is all part of the hidden trainees system, a beginner stage that must be cleared to advance. Overseeing this brutal training is a stern military instructor, whose duty is to expose weaknesses, exterminate them, and forge survivors. Hyun-Yu Kim stood before the shimmering, arcane portal, a solitary figure in the tower's depths. He was not the kind of person to seek out others, unable to bear the thought of those who would leave the tower and speak of the outside world, and so he continued his solitary existence, repeatedly clearing the tower, with nothing else to occupy his time as 12 long years passed him by. Finally, after countless repetitions, he lay sprawled on the cold stone, a system window materializing above his exhausted form. The window displayed his stats, revealing he had reached the tutorial's limit, even forcibly breaking through some thresholds, yet still, it declared nothing had changed before a new message appeared. The loop has been removed. The words, "loop has been removed," shimmered with finality. He sat up abruptly, his eyes wide with disbelief, uttering a single, stunned question. The system confirmed the loop's removal, congratulating him, and stating he could now pass the conquest on his next attempt. As the system confirms the tutorial loop's removal, a message flashes before Hyun-Yu Kim, declaring his eligibility for the next stage of conquest. His eyes, now glowing with an ethereal blue light, reflect the profound shift in his reality. Around him, the very fabric of the tutorial tower begins to tear apart, crumbling into dust with a deafening shriek. Massive chunks of stone disintegrate, vanishing into the void. A single, guttural cry escapes him, a mix of shock and anticipation. He falls through the disintegrating floor, landing amidst the swirling debris, a triumphant grin spreading across his face. The last remnants of the tower shatter with a resounding crash, revealing a brilliant, glowing path that beckons him forward. It is time to go. The path stretches endlessly before him, a tunnel of pure light leading to the unknown. As the tutorial tower crumbles around him, a wave of profound relief washes over Hyun-Yu Kim, and a single, triumphant word escapes his lips: home. The tutorial tower's general manager had been observing the situation, particularly focusing on the one known as the Hunter. A woman in a professional suit ponders aloud, wondering if the 18th Hunter group could truly break the existing record this time. Her expression suggests doubt, as she quietly states her belief that it's unlikely. Meanwhile, Sang-Yun Kim, the sole guild leader, considers the situation, emphasizing the importance of understanding the type of attack used, which often depends on a hunter's individual ability. Another sole guild leader, Seongmin Kong, reflects on past achievements, noting that since a certain point, everything the guild had accomplished had been the best. The reason for this shift in perspective becomes clear as the formidable demon, Balok, is revealed on the 100th floor of the tutorial tower, having consistently appeared after that pivotal moment. With Balok's constant presence, the element of luck simply ceased to exist for those attempting the tower. The monster lets out a guttural sound, its massive foot descending with crushing force. The impact sends Hyun-Yu plummeting through the air, a trail of smoke and debris marking his rapid descent. Damn, he curses, a frustrated growl escaping him as a faint glow emanates from his body. It's annoying, he exclaims, continuing to fall past the 70th, then the 80th floor. The chasm around him erupting in fiery explosions as he passes the 90th. The monster's guttural command, die, reverberates through the crumbling tower. A deep, resonant tremor accompanies a surge of ominous red energy. The darkness is then consumed by a violent, fiery explosion. Meanwhile, Hyun-Yu Kim continues his uncontrolled plummet, his feet swinging wildly as he falls past the 99th floor. The monstrous Balok, wreathed in a fiery aura, lets out a deafening roar. Hyun-Yu Kim screams in a mix of pain and sheer frustration. Yet, a fierce determination hardens his expression as he vows, "I'll go home." Balok, its crimson eyes glowing, gathers more destructive power, a searing sound emanating from its form. A blinding, red energy blast erupts, engulfing the falling figure. Even as he was forced into it by sheer will, the tutorial tower itself began to erupt, distant explosions blooming like deadly flowers near its summit. The chaotic energy intensified, sending debris and light scattering across the urban landscape below. Meanwhile, far above the Hangseonggu Chonhodong Tutorial Tower Emergency Responsement District, the Korean Hunter Association's Emergency Observation Office maintained a vigilant watch. Inside, two men stared out a window, their faces etched with disbelief, as one gasped, that. Before their eyes, the very structure of the tower began to distort, transforming into a colossal, swirling vortex of purple energy, a phenomenon they knew only as the tower opening. The light intensified, the men exclaiming, "It's opening now, right? Oh my goodness, this is a new record." The energy pulsed with a sharp crackle. Inside a bustling office, a stern-faced man instructs his colleague to prepare the list of survivors. The bespectacled man responds with a quick, affirmative reply. Meanwhile, the tutorial tower, now a colossal vortex of swirling purple energy, continues its transformation, a lone figure falling into its depths. Emerging from the ordeal, Hyun-Yu Kim stands with a determined gaze, his eyes now glowing with an intense, fiery red hue. A faint, self-satisfied chuckle escapes him as he walks away from the towering buildings, leaving the tower's shadow behind. Another man, dressed in a sharp suit, greets him with a hearty, congratulatory exclamation. He acknowledges the achievement, stating that Hyun-Yu Kim has successfully completed the tutorial. As Hyun-Yu Kim continues to walk away, the man adds, acknowledging his immense effort. His hair now a striking gray, Hyun-Yu Kim looks up at the official before him, a question lingering on his lips. He asks, his voice tinged with uncertainty, I got out of the tutorial, right? The official, a subtle smirk playing on his lips, seems to hold the answer. Indeed, Hyun-Yu Kim had escaped, his body plummeting from the sky as he cried out in triumph, I got out. Back in the present, the official reviews a survivor list, scanning the names and dates. A look of surprise crosses his face as he reads, muttering, Oh. The document confirms it was the first group tutorial, and the official ponders, really? He points to the names on the list, Hyun-Yu Kim and Seo-Yun Lee, exclaiming, I told you it's right. The official shakes his head, marveling at the situation, thinking, such a crazy thing. He's an advanced player. He stretches, his body still adjusting to the world outside the tutorial tower. A week later, the city bustles with life, as the news of the tutorial escapees spreads. A reporter stands before the Korean Hunters Association building, announcing that those who escape the 9th floor will soon receive their first grade evaluation. Meanwhile, in a quiet office, a man in glasses discusses the situation, believing the escapee from the 9th floor is the one they're looking for, a sentiment echoed by the woman standing opposite him. She strides purposefully through the halls, her thoughts focused on the impending meeting. Arriving at the waiting room, she checks the time, a digital clock confirming her tardiness as she asks, I'm not late, right? Only to be met with a blunt, you're late. Seo-Yun Lee and Seong-min Kong listen intently as Si-Hyun Kim questions the information before him, asking if they are truly certain about the opponent mentioned on the paper. He confirms the name, stating there is only one Hyun-Yu Kim who forced his way in, prompting Seo-Yun Lee to voice her concern about the growing number of disappearances, a problem that keeps her from resting. Si-Hyun Kim then reflects on the passage of time, 12 years, before declaring his intent to end the threat posed by the man who has now become a monster. Meanwhile, the digital clock ticks down, a stark reminder that in just 5 minutes, the first grade evaluation for the hunters is set to begin. In Victim Room 101, the site of the first grade evaluation test, Hyun-Yu Kim, his hair now gray, hears that the Hunters Association is about to put him through his paces, expecting him to calmly conduct the test. Unfazed, he sits, casually munching on chips, the sound of his chewing echoing softly. He glances at the empty bag, wondering if he had already eaten something before this. A sigh escapes him as he dismisses the situation, muttering about the nonsense of it all. With a determined gaze, Hyun-Yu Kim decides he will simply finish this test, and then return to his own path, regardless of who is interrogating whom. He receives his instructions, being informed that the tutorial center will provide further details. With the path illuminated before him, he and the other hunters are directed to the designated test location. Meanwhile, Sang-Yun Kim looks on, a question forming on his lips about the unfolding situation. This is the Soul Trading Guild series, the first grade evaluation. Stepping into the designated room, Hyun-Yu Kim is greeted by a scene of utter devastation, a pile of defeated monsters already littering the floor. A stern-faced proctor, clad in a dark suit and sunglasses, announces that the first grade evaluation is now officially underway. A lone figure stands silhouetted against the towering structure, their thoughts consumed by a singular ambition, to become a hunter. Now, the stage has been set for his return, though he probably doesn't know it, the whole world is watching him right now. Among a group of participants in protective gear, one looks on with a hint of surprise, while another observes the scene with a smirk. The man in sunglasses lets a subtle smirk play on his lips, his expression unreadable behind the dark lenses. Si-Hyun Kim, observing the gathering, feels no nervousness. Instead, he anticipates seeing what everyone present has gained and trained for. He looks forward to seeing what they've gained by risking their lives in the tutorial tower. Among the participants, Hyun-Yu Kim stands with a determined expression, ready to face whatever challenge awaits. As the next stage of the trial begins, a stern man in a dark suit announces he will introduce them to their first exam. A digital interface appears, displaying a prominent Start button. Elsewhere, a group of participants, clad in protective gear and red helmets, await their fate. The examiner continues, explaining the myriad of difficult situations hunters must face, emphasizing the harsh realities of their path. As he walks through a dimly lit corridor, he reveals that one such challenge is about to unfold. A low, grinding sound echoes, as a vast, glowing labyrinth materializes before them. This is the maze. With a slight smirk, the man in the suit adds that this is merely a move-in notification, and they should fully utilize all their abilities. The examiner's voice echoes, instructing all participants to mobilize their abilities and find the exit of the maze on the other side. He then declares, the exam will commence in precisely 30 seconds, as a digital timer begins its rapid descent. The seconds tick away, with 25 remaining. A line of armored figures stands ready, spears held firm, as the countdown drops to 20 seconds. One of them, his face set in grim determination, awaits the signal with 15 seconds left. His hand tightens around the shaft of his spear, the tension mounting with only 10 seconds remaining. Then, a clear, decisive message flashes, start of the exam. With the signal given, the armored figures surge forward, a blur of motion. Their heavy boots pound the ground, carrying them deeper into the unknown maze. From an elevated observation deck, Ha-Inu's uncle watches the armored figures below, noting their impressive discipline. A smirk plays on his lips as he considers their appearance, realizing they must all be first-grade exam passers. On the phone, he confirms that the number of hunters who passed the first-grade exam is indeed at the guild leader level, while Ha-Inu looks up, acknowledging his uncle's presence. His uncle's expression shifts slightly, prompting him to ask what the matter is. Meanwhile, Ha-Inu ponders his own challenge, wondering if he simply needs to reach the exit somehow. Ha-Inu's uncle remains deep in thought, a contemplative hum escaping him. A close-up reveals Ha-Inu's reflection in his uncle's sunglasses, who silently questions the young man's capabilities. Ha-Inu, looking down at his feet, admits his profound doubt, unsure if he can even accomplish that simple goal. An exasperated sigh escapes him, as the weight of the challenge seems to overwhelm him. He questions his own attitude, wondering if this self-doubt is truly how a newcomer should approach such a critical exam. Meanwhile, in the observation room, Sang-Yun Kim remarks to Seongmin Kang that the exam is indeed difficult, but Seongmin Kang counters, suggesting that the real challenge lies in the participants' approach. Ha-Inu's gaze falls upon a specific point in the maze, his thoughts consumed by the simple, yet overwhelming task before him. Si-Hyun Kim, observing with a cool demeanor, wonders aloud if anyone truly takes this exam seriously, his words dripping with disdain. He continues, dismissing the participants as mere fodder, only fit to be weeded out. His companion, partially obscured, simply states that Si-Hyun Kim is very arrogant, a sentiment he seems to take as a compliment. The companion adds that he is also very brave, though the implication is unclear. Meanwhile, Seo-Yun Lee observes the maze, contemplating the difficulty of simply finding the exit, while Ha-In-yu, still lost in his thoughts, resolves to push through, no matter how impossible it seems. A memory flashes, a sharp voice cutting through the air, accusing someone of spouting nonsense in an interview. Standing before a colossal, dark structure, a challenging question echoes in his mind. Why are you scared? Meanwhile, a man in a crisp suit offers a proposition to Ha-In-yu, mentioning 1,000,000 won. Si-Hyun Kim observes the exchange, his expression unreadable. Ha-In-yu looks down, his thoughts heavy with self-reproach, believing that if he couldn't even navigate the cave's exit, he would be an even worse hunter than he already felt he was. The man's voice cuts through his thoughts, a casual warning. Hey, sure, don't change your mind later. With a soft step, Ha-In-yu begins his advance towards the daunting structure. His resolve hardens, affirming that he will find the exit to the cave on his own and answer the questions worth 1,000,000 won. As a faint, white-blue aura emanates from his hand, he reminds himself that to join the guild, he must be capable of at least this much, with the galaxy and universe as his witnesses. With renewed purpose, he strides forward, acknowledging that the work has only just begun. He channels his resolve, the power building within him feeling truly great. His focus narrows on the unyielding surface before him, and with a decisive movement, he plants his foot, preparing for the full impact. A devastating blow connects, sending cracks spiderwebbing across the ground as debris explodes outwards, a faint blue glow emanating from the point of contact. From a distance, Si-Hyun observes the unexpected display of power, wondering what Ha-In-yu is doing. He questions if his younger brother is truly approaching the formidable wall, while Ha-In-yu himself remains lost in thought. His gaze lifts, a determined glint in his eyes, ready to continue his assault. Another surge of power erupts, a brilliant blue-white light exploding from his next impact, shattering more of the structure. But the immense force of his own attack, or perhaps the structure's resistance, sends him recoiling, collapsing onto the ground amidst the dust and debris. With a swift, powerful motion, Ha-In-yu unleashes a glowing strike, the air whistling around his fist. The impact resonates with a deafening crash, as brilliant blue-white energy erupts from the point of contact. Another concussive wave follows, the sheer force of the blow radiating outwards in a blinding flash. Dust and glowing particles billow from the impact site, a testament to the immense power unleashed. Undeterred, he drives another glowing fist forward, the impact echoing with a resounding crash. The formidable structure, towering above him, begins to show signs of strain. More dust and glowing fragments rise, as a deep rumble emanates from within the damaged wall. The relentless assault culminates in a colossal impact, sending shockwaves through the air and causing the structure to visibly shudder. Even the ground beneath his feet cracks and groans, unable to withstand the sheer force of his repeated blows. Amidst the rising dust and debris, Han-yu stands, reflecting on the immense power he's just unleashed, a force that could be considered one of the best on the planet. He acknowledges the nature of the gate, musing that it's a forcibly made gate, but that doesn't diminish his impact. His casual attire belies the destructive force he commands. While elsewhere, the public reacts to the news of the gate, some in disbelief, wondering if it's the one from the news, others fearing for the hunter's life, and one even mocking his self-referential speech. The same group continues to observe the unfolding event on a screen, the female expressing her concern with a simple, worried no. Back at the scene, Han-yu, still amidst the chaos, confidently challenges any low rank to find him. A determined, almost playful smirk crosses his face, a testament to his unwavering confidence. The structure he attacked continues to crumble, a stark visual of his overwhelming power. A voice expresses a lingering concern, wondering if anyone would dare demand compensation for the recent events. Meanwhile, a man in dark sunglasses, his expression unreadable, is sharply reminded that he should be focused on the recovery squad. Another man, his blue-green hair framing eyes that glow with a faint red light, retorts with a smirk, asking what if he only wants to join that server, before exasperatedly telling Dex to at least read the manual. 20 hours before the hunter mode activation test, a modern building stands under a clear sky. Inside, an office worker asks, Kangsung's SSI, have the rumors about the new player been confirmed? His colleague replies with a simple, yes, before he continues, aren't you looking forward to this month's performance? Because of the rumors about the new player? He confirms, yes, however, there's also this guy. He's the one who's been making all the rumors lately. Both workers look on with wide eyes as he points. This person. His colleague questions, but he's a hunter, right? He's not a player. The man struggles to explain. I mean, he's a hunter, but he's also a player. It's hard to explain. The subject of their discussion is revealed to be Kang-hyun Lee. He once harbored a simple dream, a desire to become a star. Now, his hand tightens around the hilt of a sword, a soft purple glow emanating from its blade. His gaze is sharp, reflecting a past where he was blessed with talent, beauty, and luck. With a swift, decisive strike, Kang-hyun Lee plunges his glowing blade into the monstrous creature before him. Others scream in terror, fleeing from the horrifying beast as fast as their legs can carry them. And so, his journey continues. The monster roars in pain and fury, its glowing eyes fixed on its attacker. Yet, despite the peril, he was able to overcome the danger, risking his very life. A monstrous entity, wreathed in crackling purple energy, bares its fangs and claws, asserting its terrifying presence. This was the domain of Kang-hyun Lee, a kendo master renowned for his numerous victories at national competitions. And he stood on a high ledge, declaring to the beast below, I am the master of this place. He mused, if he could only gain recognition from this first appearance, he would surely walk the road of success. A confident smile played on his lips. But a flicker of doubt crossed his mind, questioning, that's what I thought. Before the monster could react, a devastating blow landed with a heavy thud, sending the creature reeling back as red energy erupted from the impact point. The sheer force of the attack causing the very rock around them to crack and crumble. Kang-hyun Lee's face contorts in a primal scream, his eyes burning crimson as a furious red aura erupts around him. With a powerful thrust of his arm, he roars, sending the monster recoiling with a sharp cry. Meanwhile, a figure clad in a matching red and black jacket muses to himself, contemplating an upcoming meeting with an ex-guy. Suddenly, Kang-hyun Lee reacts with surprise, his aura shifting to a vibrant purple as he once again declares, his eyes now glowing with the same hue. His expression then shifts from confusion to a determined scowl, promising a beating to someone unseen. A thought crosses his mind, contemplating the reward now surrounded by the very aura he wields. The red-clad figure reacts to a sudden call, exclaiming at the unexpected summons. Both men now stand amidst the swirling smoke and debris of the aftermath, as an emergency notice blares, instructing all participants to return to the waiting rooms. The ground trembles with a final, resounding crash. In the bustling evaluation test site press room, a collective gasp ripples through the crowd as someone exclaims about a monster's presence, the sound of an alarm blaring through the air. A man with reddish-brown hair and glasses, clearly agitated, questions the situation, wondering why everything is happening on MTC's side, and demanding a clear report, though he admits he can't get inside to find them. His frustration mounts, a single, exasperated "why" escaping his lips. Meanwhile, another man with light blue hair watches the unfolding events with a serious expression, his blue eyes reflecting the gravity of the moment. Back with the MTC personnel, one of them declares with a sense of awe that this event marks the birth of a star, as the emergency notice directs everyone to the waiting rooms. The man with glasses, now with a determined glint in his eyes, listens intently, his expression hardening. In a waiting room, Han-yu Kim lets out a wide yawn, his eyes still closed in a moment of exhaustion. He sits casually as the man with glasses stands over him, asking if his ex-guy is coming, and clarifying that he heard it was a human, not a beast, though he couldn't properly see it himself. Han-yu Kim, still in his life vest, questions the nature of the ex-guy they're discussing, wondering if he's truly a beast. Meanwhile, a blond man with an earring observes, stating that nothing is truly over yet, and there's still a chance for someone to seize the spotlight. Back in the waiting area, the management committee announces the start of the evaluation test, causing a murmur among the seated individuals. Kang Hyun Lee, seated opposite Hyun-Yu Kim, warns him that considering today's evaluation, he'll be in a tough spot again, prompting Hyun-Yu Kim to internally affirm his confidence in the ability he has mastered. The blond man with the earring continues his thought, musing on whether it's an ex-guy or something else entirely. A guttural roar echoes through the space, signaling a terrifying presence. The source of the sound is revealed, a grotesque, green-skinned monster with glowing red eyes and razor-sharp teeth, its very existence a brutal evaluation test, a discipline for the uninitiated. As the evaluation test begins, a surge of purple lightning crackles around Kang Hyun Lee, his form illuminated by the raw magical energy he unleashes. This isn't a real monster, but a virtual training construct, a sophisticated blend of hologram technology and advanced simulation designed to push hunters to their limits. He screams in exertion, his face contorted as the purple energy intensifies, the sheer force of his magic radiating outwards. Still, the torrent of power continues to flow from his hand, a relentless stream of destructive force. This is a competitive evaluation test, where the objective is clear: eliminate the virtual monsters within a strict time limit. A massive wave of purple lightning erupts from him, spreading across the simulated environment. The sheer discharge of energy surrounds him, a blinding flash of power. But then, a cry of anguish escapes him as he looks down, his efforts seemingly in vain. Lying defeated on the ground, he hears Hyun-Yu Kim's sharp rebuke. A hunter who just left his magic behind? Go, magic! As if a genius had suddenly manifested. Raw purple lightning crackles and surges around him, forming intricate magical symbols that glow with intense power. Before erupting with a thunderous boom, the digital display flickers, showing only 1 second remaining for Hunter Kang Hyun Lee. Then the timer hits 0, signaling the end of the evaluation. Despite the finality, he stands amidst the wreckage, having eliminated 78 monsters in total. Hyun-Yu Kim looks down at him, declaring the rating too high for Kang Hyun Lee to handle, but the hunter simply replies that he did it. As the simulation concludes, Hyun-Yu Kim emerges from the portal, his expression unreadable, while one of the men in a dark suit remarks on the necessity of his unique abilities. He simply states that they are done here, as a red-haired man with a confident smile announces the next participant, Hunter Hyun-Woo Kim. The red-haired man's smirk widens slightly, his eyes sharp with anticipation. He then clarifies that this upcoming test is for the one following the advanced player, as Hyun-Yu Kim and another man in glasses join him to observe. The man with glasses suggests they take a closer look, while the red-haired man muses aloud about how the fighting style of the participant might have evolved over time. Hyun-Yu Kim, still observing, simply states that their trip is now over, the red-haired man listening intently beside him. A red-haired figure in a tracksuit races through a dark, cavernous space, glancing back at a fallen companion, as an urgent voice declares, "We need more sacrifices to rescue the staff." From the swirling mists, a hulking, green-skinned monster begins to materialize, its form glowing with an eerie light. Its red eyes burning with malevolence as it lets out a guttural growl. More of its kind begin to emerge, their powerful frames radiating a menacing aura. As a stark message appears, declaring a time limit of 120 seconds. The test is set to begin in 10 seconds. The digital display ticking down to 9. As Hyun-Yu Kim, Si-Hyun Kim, and Kang Hyun Lee stand ready, watching the final 8 seconds vanish. As the final seconds of the countdown ticked away, a monstrous creature with glowing red eyes let out a guttural growl. While Hyun-Yu Kim, Si-Hyun Kim, and Kang Hyun Lee stood ready amidst the other creatures in the smoky cavern, all eyes fixed on the impending start of the test. A soft exhale escaped Hyun-Yu Kim's lips, his expression a mixture of anticipation and resolve. Beside him, Si-Hyun Kim's eyes narrowed, his gaze sharp and unwavering as the final second approached. Then, a sudden, profound silence fell. Shattered by a system announcement, test begins. Immediately, the monster was engulfed in a vibrant purple aura, its form crackling with raw energy. The same powerful light enveloped Hyun-Yu Kim's legs, signaling his entry into the trial. He surges forward with incredible speed, tearing through the shimmering energy as if it were water. His arm tensing, now visibly charged with the test's potent purple aura. Elsewhere, 2 men watch the unfolding chaos, one exclaiming in disbelief, "Did you see that now?" Meanwhile, a monstrous 3-headed beast lets out a guttural roar, its eyes glowing a malevolent red as the same purple energy crackles around its fangs. Hyun-Yu Kim, alongside Si-Hyun Kim and Kang Hyun Lee, plunges into the fray, delivering a powerful, bone-jarring blow. The observers continue to monitor the scene, a digital timer ticking down, as one remarks, "The hunter, managed." The monsters continue to explode with purple mana, their forms disintegrating under the relentless assault, as observers question the nature of this potent energy. A new kind of attack manifests as a vibrant pink glow in his eye. From a remote observation room, Si-Hyun Kim dismisses the idea of magic, while Kang Hyun Lee, alongside another observer, marvels at the fighter's impossible speed. Hyun-Yu Kim, a blur of motion, charges directly into the monstrous horde. He finds his next target, repeating the devastating process over and over again, leaving a trail of defeated foes. The unnamed observer remarks that there's nothing quite like an advanced technique, as the monsters seem to fall on their own, unable to keep pace with his blinding speed. His face, illuminated by a fierce red glow, shows unwavering determination as he pushes his limits. Even the strongest hunters would struggle to match that speed, Si-hyun Kim remarks, as Kang-hyun Lee agrees, admitting he'd never witnessed such a display on Earth. A soft blue glow emanates from Si-hyun Kim as he adds, he had also thought so, but the rumors surrounding the test act were clearly exceeded. In reality, observing the raw power, he had completely transformed into a monster. The final second of the test ticked away, the digital display flashing 001 before swiftly changing to midnight. A clear message appeared, signaling the conclusion. The test had ended. Hyun-Yu Kim lay still, his eyes closed in exhaustion, the immense effort of his performance finally taking its toll. The results were tallied, revealing that Hunter Byung-woo Kim, number 34, had been killed. He stands amidst the carnage, a lone figure surrounded by the defeated forms of 248 monsters. Online, the news of his performance spreads like wildfire, a live discussion room buzzing with disbelief as an image of the advanced player appears, sparking a frenzy of comments. Many question if the magic of newcomers could truly be so high, marveling at his SSS rank and speculating that he merely toyed with high-rank monsters, already captured on camera. The absurdity of a revived Hunter is debated, with some comparing him to legendary figures like King or even Gurren, while others recall seeing him in the tower, claiming he single-handedly eliminated Bullock. The online community explodes with theories, wondering if he's the advanced player who escaped the tower years ago, or if he somehow leveled up impossibly fast within it. His eye, usually a deep brown, now crackles with an intense, electric blue glow, reflecting the raw power surging within him. A hand clenches, crimson energy sparking around his knuckles, a silent testament to the immense, barely contained strength he now wields. Kang-hyun Lee stares down, a single word escaping his lips. Elsewhere, a man recoils in shock, a loud bang echoing around him, as another, utterly defeated, looks upon a shattered screen, lamenting his wasted efforts. A hand rests on a document, detailing intelligence from Chief Alice, the internal monologue revealing that others share the same confusion and shock, having invested everything to join a guild. Kang-hyun Lee screams in disbelief, railing against the perceived unfairness of it all, accusing someone of being a fraud. The document reveals a list of names under the Remaroka Guild. Meanwhile, Hyun-Yu Kim himself looks on, utterly bewildered by the unfolding situation. He sits on the couch, presented with a list of everyone who has been talking about him. Meanwhile, in a sleek office, Si-hyun works with the Hunter Association's intelligence chief, a role he's held since Gary. Alice, holding a card, tells Hyun-Yu that he'll only be able to get the information after 12 hours. Si-hyun, still at his desk, explains that the Hunter Association heavily invests in guilds, but also offers significant rewards to those who pose a threat. Hyun-Yu reads a document detailing how hunter guilds are already investing heavily in intelligence, prompting him to question Alice about Hyun-Woo Hyung, who she confirms is giving off a troubled expression. A sudden realization dawns on him, and he gasps, asking if this extensive intelligence gathering is also the task of an intelligence chief for the Hunter Guild Association. Alice, with a slight smile, explains that she has come for some personal business. Placing a card with an Apex logo onto the table, she adds that she wanted to meet the player who cleared the dungeon in just 10 minutes, offering the card as a bonus. Hyun-Yu Kim considers the implications, noting that since the revised edition is out, he should report on public opinion, but first, he needs to examine the Hunter Association's intelligence document. His eyes widen in shock as he reads the Hunter Association's intelligence document, realizing that when an A-rank guild is factored in, the total amount of information gathered is staggering. Calmly, Alice asks what he thinks of it all. Hyun-Yu Kim remains silent, his expression serious as he processes the immense implications of the intelligence. His gaze falls upon a specific detail within the document, revealing a lump sum in the contract amounting to 10 billion won. Si-hyun Kim leans forward, posing a question about the value of a 300 million won contract. Hyun-Yu Kim listens intently, as Si-hyun Kim continues, wondering aloud when the value of the won fell so drastically, then clarifying if the Korean dollar equivalent is improving. He reassures him that there's no such exchange rate, but instead, the value of the won has gone up significantly. Hyun-Yu Kim looks at his phone, the screen displaying the current valuation of the place he wants to live. Si-hyun Kim explains that the 300 million won property is causing a bit of chaos, leading to Hyun-Yu Kim's stunned exclamation of 1.3 billion. Still reeling from the revelation, Hyun-Yu hears the staggering figure. His asset is now worth 10 billion won. Si-hyun explains that Hyun-Yu is the only one capable of managing this property and maximizing its potential. He then clarifies that if the property is indeed worth 10 billion, Hyun-Yu would, of course, be responsible for the taxes incurred from its sale. Si-hyun assures him that the distribution ratio is heavily in his favor. However, He adds, he also made a secret contract with the Hunters Association's intel department. This was possible due to a personal connection he holds. Han-Yu's eyes widen as he hears about the official from the asset management team who will be handling this for him. Si-hyun expresses his confidence, stating he's sure Han-Yu will be able to handle it, to which Han-Yu replies that he will do his best. A determined smile spreads across Han-Yu's face. I have no intention of being tied to money, Si-hyun declares, as Han-Yu looks on, wondering what he means. His expression remains firm, emphasizing his conviction. For in this world, everything is a matter of give and take. You, however, will be tied to money for the rest of your life, Si-hyun continues, looking down at Han-Yu, who lies amidst a pile of snacks, still confused. The remnants of his comfortable indulgence surround him. Later, as he drifts into sleep, a faint smile plays on his lips, dreaming of a life free from such burdens, a life of pure comfort. His eye flashes with a subtle glow, reflecting the deep desires he holds, whilst dreaming of the things he wants. The scene shifts, and Si-hyun stands beside him at a desk, repeating the same words. You're going to be tied to money for the rest of your life. Si-hyun's words echo in Han-Yu's mind, a firm declaration that he would not comply. Yet, the older man's voice persists, reminding him, you're going to be tied to money for the rest of your life. Han-Yu can only concede, thinking, I think I'm going to be tied to money for the rest of my life. A skeptical query follows, really? As Han-Yu lies in his bed, the weight of the prophecy settling over him. Si-hyun's voice returns, unwavering. I told you, didn't I? You're going to be tied to money for the rest of your life. Han-Yu, still in bed, acknowledges his new reality. I'm a hunter. It is a life of mercenary work, where money dictates everything. He reflects on a past desire. I would have been happy if I had lived that kind of life. A message on his phone screen reads, I don't care about money. I just want to live a normal life. Han-Yu's internal struggle continues. I'm sorry, but I don't care about money. The phone screen displays a list of names, including Si-hyun Kim, a stark reminder of the connections that bind him. 5 days later, as the new hunter's induction period concludes, Han-Yu finds himself at a Japanese restaurant. Surrounded by an array of exquisite dishes, he silently admits that he still struggles to adjust to such opulence. Taking a bite of sushi, he lets out a small, contemplative sound. Across the table, Kang-hyun Lee and a woman with dark blue hair observe him, asking if he's truly not accustomed to such expensive meals. A soft phew escapes Han-Yu, his expression a mix of surprise and slight exasperation. Kang-hyun Lee then muses, thinking about Seo-kwon, who used to be his age but has now become an uncle. He continues his thought, marveling at how that whining high school student transformed into such a handsome man. The blue-haired woman shares a similar sentiment, reflecting that Seo-kwon is a completely different person compared to a few years ago. Han-Yu, having listened to their observations, acknowledges the name. Oh, sure, Seo-kwon, huh? He listens intently as Kang-hyun Lee playfully accuses him of always hiding behind others during floor boss fights, a sentiment Si-hyun Kim echoes with a lighthearted, "Huak." Yet, his thoughts drift to a different matter, wondering why he feels like the only one aging. Even as a narration box confirms 5 days have passed since their last encounter, he reassures himself that he's still handsome, even if it's true. Si-hyun then observes that it's getting late, prompting Kang-hyun to ask what he's thinking about, recalling a past lesson they shared. Kang-hyun's words conjure a vivid image of a monstrous, green-skinned beast with glowing red eyes, its massive form dominating a rocky cavern. As he recounts how Seo-kwon once borrowed a healing potion, promising to repay him with delicious sashimi. Si-hyun laughs at the memory of Seo-kwon, recalling how she bought him a new school uniform that fit him perfectly, while Kang-hyun adds that he also remembers a story about Han-Yu, concluding that despite everything, they're all doing fine. Han-Yu, having listened to their reminiscing, simply asks, story? The conversation continues, with Si-hyun and Kang-hyun recounting the past, mentioning how Han-Yu's actions at the tower had even made him a celebrity, with the events being discussed on television. A look of surprise crosses his face as Han-Yu questions the revelation. His eyes widen in disbelief, asking which specific event they are referring to. The realization dawns on him that all these stories are about his own experiences. Kang-hyun continues, recalling the story of the monster on the 9th floor as a monstrous creature looms over a younger Han-Yu in a flashback. He elaborates on the incident, where Han-Yu nearly died and had to consume a healing potion, his hand clutching the vial. Han-Yu stands, looking serious, as the memory of the 9th floor monster is brought up again. Si-hyun then adds, claiming responsibility for some of the events, while Kang-hyun expresses surprise at his involvement on the 9th floor of the tower. Han-Yu lets out an exasperated sigh, internally repeating that he wasn't the only one present during those events. A monstrous dungeon boss, its green, scaly skin and prominent fangs a testament to its ferocity, seems to recall a past triumph, musing about beating a dungeon boss while dancing. Meanwhile, in a different setting, Si-hyun Kim and a dark-haired woman look on with wide eyes, a shared expression of surprise on their faces. The woman's mouth hangs slightly open, her reaction mirroring the disbelief of her companion. Later, Han-Yu Kim holds a piece of sushi, a satisfied hum escaping him, clearly enjoying a well-deserved meal. A wide, joyful smile spreads across his face as he declares, that he is finally out of whatever situation he was in. Surrounded by Si-hyun Kim and the dark-haired woman, among others, Hyun-Yu Kim reflects on the simple pleasure, thinking he never imagined he could eat sushi like this again. Hyun-Yu Kim sits, a deep frustration settling over him as he recalls a past encounter, believing that if he had perceived the monster on the 10th floor differently, he could have easily overcome it. Now, sharing a meal with Si-hyun Kim, Kang-hyun Lee, and Alice, he voices his lingering doubt, explaining that his initial belief about a monster on the 10th floor was shaken after hearing their stories, leaving him uncertain. His expression turns serious as he reflects on the danger of getting trapped in the limitations of his past self. Looking down, he continues, admitting he's looking back at his student days, prompting Alice to ask for clarification. He confirms his statement, though he can't quite remember the exact sequence of events. His memory drifts to a time when he was a wizard, navigating the treacherous 10th and 20th floors of a ruined structure, bathed in an ethereal purple glow. He recalls a specific incident where a member of his party fell behind, and he could feel the chilling presence of a wandering soul. An ominous hum fills the air, echoing the lingering dread of that memory. A monstrous figure, cloaked in shadow and emanating a dark aura, looms over a younger Hyun-Yu Kim, its glowing red eyes fixed on him. The creature's voice echoes, a chilling offer to the seemingly weak man, asking if he truly wished to live. Its skull-like face, illuminated by the malevolent glow of its eyes, promises to guide him. A sharp impact rings out, and a bandaged arm recoils, suggesting the harsh reality of his past struggle. Back in the present, Hyun-Yu Kim sips his drink, recalling how he had boasted about his new fighting style to the monster, even showing it off as a student. Kang-hyun Lee listens intently, commenting on the unexpected nature of the story. Hyun-Yu Kim continues, explaining the common trope of protagonists in stories finding enlightenment when trapped, and how he believed he could escape in a similar fashion. With Si-hyun Kim and Alice also listening, he concludes that he tried to escape. If you couldn't even manage the most basic of tasks. The monster would sneer, its voice dripping with contempt. Spill it. You can't even lift your hands first. Alla. You can't concentrate. It would continue to taunt. You can't even build a pillar with your mana. The creature's red eyes glowed with cruel amusement as it commanded. Control your emotions. Concentrate. Focus your mana on the corner of your hand. Hyun-Yu Kim would struggle, mana flaring erratically around him, his frustration boiling over as he cried out, "How can I do it? I can't. I'm going to fail again." The monster's face would twist into a menacing grin. "Your personality makes me want to kill you even more, you brat. Wouldn't that be fun?" Reflecting on those harsh memories, Hyun-Yu's gaze sharpened, thinking, "Anyway, I thought that I wore a mask. I absolutely have to avoid that." Back in the present, seated around a table with Si-hyun, Kang-hyun, and Alice, Si-hyun asked, "But how is the world outside for 12 years?" The group waited for his answer. He finds himself in a quiet room, the door closed behind him. Lying on a bed, a familiar status window materializes before his eyes, displaying his current state. His name, age, and gender are listed, along with his abilities, mana, strength, stamina, and physical power, all showing significant improvements, and the window also confirms that the mask he wore for 12 years has finally disappeared. He stares intently at the number 24 foot on the screen, a thought forming in his mind. "I've been away for 12 years, he muses. "I don't want to wait until I'm 24. The status window updates again, revealing even higher stats for mana and strength, yet a question lingers in his mind as he sees the phrase, "The loop has been removed." A soft, almost mechanical sound echoes, signifying the final removal of the loop, and his eyes open wide with a renewed sense of purpose. A system message confirms the tower's successful clearing, promising attestation upon defeating 3 dungeon bosses to advance to the next level. As the notification details a target attack dungeon, with locations like the Institute of Aduron and Forest Village, a sudden knock echoes, prompting a surprised exclamation. "What the hell?" He turns, his expression unreadable. A guard stands before him, explaining that some individuals have arrived, seeking a meeting, and that it seems they are scouts from a renowned guild. Hyun-Yu Kim's response is immediate and firm. "I won't meet them." The guard, however, persists, acknowledging the inconvenience but urging understanding for their position, as he had to call him even if he was busy. Hyun-Yu Kim considers the implications, knowing that if he were to refuse outright, it would become an incident that would continuously linger. Reluctantly, he agrees to the meeting, asking where they are headed, and the guard informs him they are in the waiting room on the first floor. The waiting room itself appears quiet and unoccupied. 2 sharply dressed men stand in a luxurious room, one with blonde hair and the other with dark, as the blonde one addresses the unseen individual before them, asking if they are Hunter Hyun-Yu Kim. From an unseen position, Hyun-Yu Kim's voice carries, declaring that he has no intention of joining any guild, having already made his stance clear. The blonde man, Kang-hyun Lee, merely chuckles, extending a business card as he introduces himself as the personnel section chief of the Byunggo Guild. Hyun-Yu Kim, now visible, looks at them with a thoughtful, almost challenging expression, questioning if they truly believe his refusal is acceptable, before a sudden realization dawns on him. The dark-haired man, Si-hyun Kim, rises from his seat, his gaze fixed on Hyun-Yu Kim, rephrasing his question with a directness that leaves no room for ambiguity. Would he join the Aries Guild? Kang Hyun-Lee adds, a confident smirk playing on his lips, that joining them would ensure his continued proper growth. Hyun-Yu Kim's expression remains unreadable, his thoughts lingering on their words. As Si-hyun Kim delivers a final, pointed remark, suggesting that his current, meaningless nickname could be shed if he were to accept their offer. Now seated at a table, Hyun-Yu Kim looks across at Si-hyun Kim, with Kang Hyun-Lee standing behind him, and simply utters a sharp, hey. With a slight smirk, Hyun-Yu Kim questions the late hour of their visit, prompting Kang Hyun-Lee to look down, internally wondering if they were trying to blackmail him at such an unreasonable time. He then places a calming hand on Si-hyun Kim's arm, urging him to take it easy. Si-hyun Kim, however, remains serious, challenging Kang Hyun-Lee on how much he was making fun of Hunter Hyun-Woo Kim. He continues, suggesting Kang Hyun-Lee doesn't truly know the Aries Guild, only for Hyun-Yu Kim to casually interject, claiming he knows them well. A smirk returns to Hyun-Yu Kim's face as he reveals his perception of the Aries Guild, a group of badass gangsters comprising more than half of Korea's top rankers. Later, while reaching for food, he casually asks about the dungeon exit, then inquires about the quality of the guild's armaments and equipment, to which Si-hyun Kim proudly confirms the Aries Guild is known for having the best in Korea. He casually asks about their equipment and the dungeon exit, prompting Alice to explain that the Aries Guild possesses the best armaments in Korea, making them a formidable force. Si-hyun Kim then adds that they are essentially forcing him to choose between two difficult options, a situation that seems to weigh heavily on his mind. As he considers this, a faint purple glow emanates from his hand, a subtle yet powerful display of his hidden abilities. The energy intensifies, bursting forth in a brilliant, shimmering exclamation. Both Kang Hyun-Lee and Alice recoil in shock, their faces etched with disbelief at the sudden manifestation of power. He then calmly asks if they truly believe he would join their guild, his tone suggesting a deeper game at play. Hyun-Yu Kim stands before three men, his gaze fixed on the bald figure seated opposite him, a tense silence hanging in the air. The bald man's fist clenches, a clear sign of his intent, as he makes it clear that Hyun-Yu Kim doesn't grasp the gravity of his current predicament. A sharp gasp escapes Hyun-Yu Kim, his expression momentarily reflecting the pressure. But before he can react, the bald man lunges, a blur of blue energy streaking towards him, striking with blinding speed. A menacing grin spreads across the attacker's face, acknowledging the young hunter's formidable power, believing him to be at least a high-ranking individual. Yet, a subtle smirk plays on Hyun-Yu Kim's lips, a silent challenge to the bald man's assessment. In a flash, the tables turn, a dull thud echoes as the bald man slumps, clutching his chest, his voice laced with pain as he recalls Hyun-Yu Kim's previous actions against his subordinate. With a soft click, the weapon is withdrawn, leaving the antagonist defeated. Still facing the bald antagonist, Hyun-Yu Kim's frustration boils over, a silent thought echoing in his mind. This jerk, he thinks, really pushed him too far. Without another moment's hesitation, he unleashes a swift, powerful strike, sending the bald man reeling. A guttural scream of rage or pain tears from the antagonist's throat, his face contorted in a mask of fury. The impact of the blow is undeniable, a solid thud echoing through the space. Blue energy flares around the bald man as he is launched backward, the force of the attack sending him flying. Hyun-Yu Kim watches, his expression resolute, glowing particles swirling around him as the aftermath settles. The bald man crashes violently into a nearby wall, shattering the structure with a deafening impact. From a distance, another man observes the scene, his eyes wide with shock and disbelief at the sudden, brutal display of power. Hyun-Yu Kim stands at the base of a towering, smoky chasm, the air thick with dust and debris, as a voice announces the arrival of the exit on the opposite side. Now clad in a sleek, olive-green track jacket, he holds a pistol with practiced ease, his gaze sharp and focused. Elsewhere, two terrified figures huddle together, one exclaiming their confusion, the other fearing for their life. A man in a sharp suit observes the chaos with a thoughtful hum. A smirk plays on his lips as he challenges. Now you'll think he's the strongest, eh? Purple energy crackles violently around him, a raw display of power, as he continues. You'll think the same after you see my power present. This formidable display is the very essence of the Athena Guild's power, strengthened by the armed guild. A muscular figure, enveloped in a vibrant purple aura, declares with absolute certainty that his opponent will be brought to their knees, his eyes glowing with the same potent energy as he makes his menacing pronouncement. Yet, in the aftermath of a swift, unseen strike, the defeated man can only think to himself that it should have been like that. He plummets through the air, utterly bewildered by the sudden reversal, wondering what on earth just happened. Now prone on the ground, two figures approach his still form, one observing that he's not moving. A foot in a sandal nudges his head, a voice calling out, "Hey." The man in the suit stands over him, his expression cold as he asks, "Do you know who I hate the most?" He then presses his foot down onto the defeated man's hand, a deliberate act of humiliation. Looking down with faintly glowing eyes, the man in the suit confirms he's not moving. As the battle raged, a sharp, pained gasp escaped the unnamed man, his eyes widening in surprise. A hand, crackling with vibrant purple energy, lashed out, prompting a silent accusation from his opponent. You shot. Si-hyun's face hardened with fierce determination, his amber eyes glowing with an intense purple light as his power surged. The purple energy erupted around him, a potent display of his formidable abilities. Later, under the quiet expanse of the city's night sky, the towering buildings stood silent witnesses. Inside an apartment, Kang-hyun Lee turned to Si-hyun, asking, "So, did you come back after completely crushing him?" Si-hyun replied, "He started the fight first." Kang-hyun continued, observing that the others are really hopeless. "The guys in the Ares Guild are the worst." Si-hyun mused aloud. "They probably think I'm a coward for not joining them. Isn't that how?" His expression thoughtful, he concluded, "But it's not like that." A faint buzz resonates through Hyunyu, a familiar sensation that often precedes a shift in his reality. He recalls a stark memory, standing over a fallen opponent, the air thick with the scent of blood, a chilling reminder that in this maze, there are no exits, only the grim choice to kill. Meanwhile, in a comfortable apartment, a man exclaims in disbelief, "God, they're savage," while his associate counters, "In my opinion, what you did is more savage." Hyunyu, lost in thought, considers the implications of a simple question, "What do you think of just joining my guild?" The conversation continues, with Kang-hyun Lee stating, "Hyunyu, I don't think you said that you weren't joining a guild." His associate insists, "I did," but Kang-hyun Lee firmly replies, "You didn't." With a resolute expression, Hyunyu declares, "Something came up that I have to do." A system window materializes, displaying his current status, with all core attributes: strength, stamina, physical power, magic power, agility, sense, luck, charm, skill, title, level, experience, gold, inventory, quest, shop, and system, all obscured by a uniform 8+ rating, hinting at a hidden potential or a system in flux. Another window appears, detailing a new quest titled The Forgotten Savage, with the objective to clear all monsters in a redacted dungeon, promising the Forgotten Savage as a reward, and welcoming him to the Chaotic Tower. He stares into the darkness, a profound realization echoing in his mind. He is the only one who can save himself. There is no one else. He alone holds the key to his salvation. A bitter regret washes over him, the memory of past weakness and loss fueling his resolve. He questions his own conviction, wondering if he truly has the strength to make others suffer the same fate. Elsewhere, a staff member, surrounded by the wreckage of what appears to be an office, cries out in disbelief, demanding to know what happened. A sharp, piercing sound reverberates through the air. Hyun-Yu Kim finally arrives at the Institute of Anomalies, a towering structure shrouded in an ethereal mist. He gazes up at its imposing form, wondering if this truly is the infamous institute. Later, seated with Si-hyun Kim, the guild leader questions the choice of location, asking why it had to be there, to which Hyun-Yu simply replies that he has business there. Si-hyun, however, doubts his ability to enter, letting out a frustrated sigh. He challenges Hyun-Yu's assumption that he can simply walk in, reminding him that he is a hunter, not just anyone. Hyun-Yu finds the situation absurd, demanding to know what the government is doing. Si-hyun explains that there's a law restricting entry to those of a certain rank, and points out that they already have a hunter on staff, as Kang-hyun Lee sits nearby. He listens intently as Si-hyun explains the Institute of Anomalies isn't some open-door facility, comparing its strict entry to the tutorial tower, emphasizing that they don't just let anyone in. However, a flicker of suspicion crosses his face, as he voices his doubt that the situation is merely an accident. His gaze sharpens with conviction, firmly believing it's a total mess, but one with purpose. The institute itself, a government-run facility operating for 50 years, occupies an entire floor of a towering building, its existence and operations a closely guarded secret from the public. Si-hyun continues, explaining that while it should theoretically be easy to infiltrate, all entrances and exits are heavily monitored and blocked, making covert entry incredibly difficult. Considering this new information, Hyun-Yu calmly states that he will simply have to pursue another method. A determined smile plays on his lips, as he declares his intention to tackle the challenge head-on. Si-hyun, however, looks concerned, warning him that such an approach would inevitably lead to a hostile confrontation with the Ares guys. Meanwhile, within a desolate, rocky chamber, the hunter Kang-hyun Lee stands victorious over a defeated, scaly monster, a silent testament to the dangers that lurk within the Institute's domain. He considers the implications, a thought echoing in his mind that it might already be too late. As Si-hyun explains, the Institute of Anomalies and its researchers are strictly government-operated, meaning the former facility in the Ares area will require a significant amount of time to access. Hyun-Yu looks out at the towering structure, questioning if that means the exact same amount of time as before. Si-hyun confirms his uncle's suspicion, admitting that his guild's resources are simply too limited to expedite the process. Meanwhile, in a different location, a man in a sharp suit observes a screen, a satisfied good escaping his lips, followed by a quiet assessment that the situation is not bad. He muses that whether it's a government facility or not, to gain entry, one must be someone significantly powerful. Looking up, he concludes that there is only one option. On a large screen, A map of the Ares area is displayed, with an instruction to keep an eye on something, followed by an affirmative yes from an unseen subordinate. The commander then asks what's next, receiving another yes, commander in response. The commander reviews a document, his gaze fixed on the surprising data within, which details the exceptional abilities of Hyun-Yu Kim, the very same power he had sensed before. A slight frown creases his brow as he murmurs, "What?" The report, based on Hyun-Yu Kim's test result video, shows a hand holding a page with a blurred image of the young man. A detailed radar chart illustrates his abilities, with every metric pushed to its absolute limit. The commander's surprise is evident as he questions, "Isn't the machine broken?" A subordinate, Director Byun-Woo Kim, stands before him, calmly explaining that he too had doubts and had reported the findings to the personnel department, confirming no error was found and the data was accurate. A page turns with a soft rustle as the commander processes the implications. His gaze sharpens as he asks the director, "Then, did you recruit him?" Director Byun-Woo Kim replies that manager Byung-Ho Kim had tried previously, but the commander himself had stated not to recruit him. He stands, contemplating the situation before him. A sigh escapes him as he muses, "I'm not sure if he'll be satisfied with this." A faint red aura flares around him as he laments, "It's a shame. He would have been a great asset to us." His hand moves decisively, signing a document, as he adds, "And he could bring us a huge profit in person." A determined expression settles on Commander Ares' face. He states, "I'll tell the executive department guys, so you do your best." His instructions continue, echoing through the quiet hall. Walking away from a door, he calls out, "Department head you." A man with reddish-brown hair turns, surprised, asking, "What's going on?" "So, something happened." He continues his directive, mentioning the instigation of a Duran. Meanwhile, at Kianbosan Mountain in Wajongbu, a man desperately pleads for entry, asking if he can just be led in this one time. He stands before an Ares guild blocking checkpoint, his plea met with an unyielding no entry sign and stern guards. Elsewhere, a red-haired woman clenches her teeth, her expression crumpling as she laments that there is simply no other place for her. Back at the checkpoint, the man argues that plenty of low-level monsters are available to hunt freely. But the guard remains firm, declaring they aren't letting anyone in, despite the man's insistence that he's in a hurry. The guard dismisses his urgency, suggesting he find another dungeon if time is of the essence, only for the man to repeat his desperate plea. As one guard makes a suggestive offer, asking for his phone number to let him in, the man hesitates, just as a heavy thud signals the arrival of an imposing, unseen figure, whose large foot steps into view. A red-haired woman urgently warns a stocky man about a rift, insisting they should leave the forest and take care of it, while he reacts with a surprised, questioning sound. Suddenly, a new presence makes itself known with a soft thud, as a man in dark clothes stands calmly before them. The stocky man, now visibly alarmed, echoes the warning, his voice filled with growing concern about the rift. The newcomer simply responds with a calm, inquiring, "What?" The stocky man, his face contorted in distress, clarifies the situation, explaining that it's a dungeon break. With a knowing look, the newcomer confirms, "Yes, I came here knowing that." He continues, his gaze unwavering. "The guy who said he'd take care of it. I came here to take care of it." Then, with a slight smirk, he poses a question, "Are you alone?" As the monstrous creature lunges with savage claws, the newcomer meets its ferocity with a shimmering blue barrier, the impact sending shockwaves through the air. An unseen voice laments the monster's ruthlessness, wondering how anyone could possibly help the poor staff caught in its path. Hyun-Yu Kim finds himself facing two other hunters, a man and a woman, who eye him with suspicion. The male hunter, holding a spear, demands to know what his profession is. Hyun-Yu Kim simply turns his back, dismissing their inquiry with a curt, "You guys don't do it." The male hunter's grip tightens on his spear, his patience wearing thin as he mutters, "Even though I speak nicely, you guys don't stand what I say." His expression twists into one of disbelief and frustration, the female hunter looking on with a similar bewildered gaze. As Hyun-Yu Kim continues on his way, a new, muscular man in a tracksuit steps into his path, his voice booming, "Hey, come here." The muscular man's face contorts in annoyance, clearly questioning Hyun-Yu Kim's sanity as he demands, "Who do you think I am?" A powerful, glowing blue attack rips through the air, eliciting a sharp cry. Arrows whistle past the hunter's head, leaving him startled as he turns to face the onslaught. Another volley strikes with a resounding impact, intensifying his surprise. The force of the attack shatters the metal bars behind him, sending him tumbling through the crumbling barrier. Meanwhile, Hyun-Yu Kim walks away with deliberate steps, unaware of the shiver of unease that passes through the hunter watching him go. The hunter, still holding an arrow, mutters to himself, realizing he should have controlled his strength better. He calls out to Hyun-Yu Kim, who responds with a dismissive, "Yes, yes." The hunter presses on, asking if he is his own man, to which Hyun-Yu Kim simply replies, "What?" Growing impatient, the hunter asks if he can't hear him. Hyun-Yu Kim lies on the ground, a faint glow emanating from his eyes as he questions if he should have listened more closely to the warnings about his abilities. A moment later, he observes his simple sandals, a thought forming in his mind, finding a strange satisfaction in the situation. Standing up, he looks towards an unseen figure, his voice carrying a hint of annoyance as he declares that he had already paid for something. Kang Hyun Lee, dressed in a sharp suit, stands over him, demanding 5 million won and calling out to him. With a casual flick of his wrist, Hyun Kim sends his sandals flying, admitting he isn't particularly skilled at throwing things, but instructing Kang Hyun Lee to take them anyway. The sandals narrowly miss Kang Hyun Lee, who flinches back, startled, and quickly decides to make his exit. Kang Hyun Lee flees, casting a frustrated glance over his shoulder, cursing under his breath. From off-panel, Hunter A's voice cuts through the air, demanding to know if Hyun Kim had just sent his oppa away. Hyun Kim stands calmly in front of a modern building, checking his phone, and dismisses the question, explaining that Kang Hyun Lee is simply a bit of a coward. An exasperated man questions his female companion, demanding to know why she always causes problems, especially by letting someone escape. He continues, accusing her of giving him too many problems, and points out that she also ran from the individual without fighting. The woman, however, challenges his words, asking who said she ran, insisting she was the one who left because the other party didn't want to fight. Her expression shifts to one of surprise as she considers the idea of stopping Hyun Kim. Then she questions her companion's certainty, asking if he can truly accomplish such a feat. She then brings up the strained relationship between Hyun Kim, also known as Byun Woo Kim, and his identity as the guild director, Hyun Woo Hyung, which she confirms is indeed not good, according to what she's heard. As she sips from a cup, the confirmation of the strained relationship hangs in the air, a quiet acknowledgement of the complex dynamics at play. Meanwhile, Commander Ares stands overlooking a vast, ethereal landscape, contemplating the situation. He muses that if Hyun Woo Hyung refers to the guild director, then the situation is bound to become troublesome. However, he acknowledges that when Hyun Kim left, he was in charge of the guild's personnel department, making him the one who knows the most about the guild's hunters. A memory of a clenched fist and a voice filled with accusation echoes, questioning a betrayal for the guild's development. The anger intensifies, reflected in a furious eye, as the voice recalls a twisted head shaking in disbelief. Hyun Kim, lost in thought, acknowledges the depth of that past fury, understanding why he was so angry. Yet, a sense of calm washes over him as he dismisses the lingering resentment, concluding there's nothing to worry about. Suddenly, a sharp "what?" escapes him, as if reacting to an unexpected voice, repeating the very sentiment he just held. I really don't need to worry. Turning towards a door, he muses aloud, considering the implications if his Hyung's words prove true. His hand finds the handle, and a subtle smirk plays on his lips, a hint of cunning in his expression. Then his composure shatters as he looks up, demanding, "What the hell are you talking about?" After discussing guild matters yesterday, Hyun Kim listens intently as his companion shares some news. Acknowledging that he too had heard whispers about it, though he hadn't fully processed the implications. A thoughtful expression crosses his face, his gaze distant as he considers the information. Meanwhile, a blue-haired woman reacts with wide-eyed surprise, the revelation clearly catching her off guard. A low, guttural chuckle echoes through the darkness. Deep within a shadowy cavern, the unnamed monster's glowing red eyes pierce the gloom, its thoughts consumed by a single, urgent question: where is its research subject? Frustration mounts as it realizes its current predicament means it cannot continue its vital work, desperate for more subjects to fuel its relentless pursuit of knowledge. The creature, a C-rank dungeon boss known as a hobgoblin, stands amidst the rocky terrain, its green, scaly skin illuminated by a faint, eerie glow. Another low, menacing chuckle escapes its fanged maw, a promise of impending trouble. From a dimly lit control room, Hyun Kim observes a screen, while Minji Kim's reflection appears, her voice confirming that the boss has indeed appeared as expected. Meanwhile, deep within a dungeon, Hunter B stands ready, his sword drawn, as Commander Ares remarks on the situation, noting that the guild's involvement is now unavoidable. Back in the control room, Minji Kim, her masked face conveying a mix of concern and determination, acknowledges the gravity of the situation. Hunter B, still observing the dungeon floor, expresses his readiness to proceed. Commander Ares, with a decisive gesture, gives the order to advance. Hunter B and another armored companion prepare themselves, acknowledging the need to increase their output to defeat the boss. Hyun Kim watches the unfolding events, a quiet thought passing through his mind. Minji Kim reacts with a gasp, her eyes widening in surprise at something she sees or hears. Hyun Kim continues to monitor the situation, while in the dungeon, Commander Ares issues a final, firm command, emphasizing the importance of their mission. An armored figure stands alone in a vast, desolate cavern, the exit always just out of reach on the opposite side, trapped in an endless loop, a story left to be continued. He is suddenly caught off guard as a swift, unseen force reaches out, leaving him startled. Quickly gripping his staff, his expression shifts to one of disbelief as he questions the bizarre turn of events. But before he can react further, the ground beneath him gives way, sending him plummeting through a metal grate, the situation feeling utterly impossible. Later, Commander Ares stands beside Si-hyun Kim, who remarks on the situation, declaring it to be over. Lost in thought, He ponders the mysterious nature of his surroundings, wondering what kind of monster could have overwhelmed even the guildmaster. Looking down, a quiet warning forms in his mind, telling himself not to get into trouble, while also realizing the guildmaster is nowhere to be found. His gaze lifts, a somber farewell escaping his lips, wishing the absent leader well. The sentiment echoes as he looks down once more, a quiet, resolute blessing. His mind circles back to the initial mystery, the strange place, and the formidable monster that even the guild master couldn't overcome. His eyes narrow, the realization of the guild master's absence weighing heavily, a critical piece of the puzzle missing. With a final, determined glance upward, he reiterates his silent wish for the guild master's well-being. Meanwhile, in a different location, a young woman with pink hair cries out in surprise, her body enveloped in a vibrant green glow as she frantically wonders where she should search next. He recalls the first time he encountered that individual, feeling the palpable influence they held over others, as if everyone hung on their every word. A low, unsettling chuckle echoes through the space, as a grotesque, goggled creature appears, its wide grin revealing sharp teeth. The sudden appearance sends a jolt through the air. Hyun-Yu Kim's body glows with a faint blue aura as he reacts to the monster's presence, a question forming in his mind. Do that? The goggled monster lands with a heavy thud, and Hyun-Yu Kim, still processing the situation, demands to know what it means by don't. His expression hardens, a vein throbbing in his forehead, as he curses the creature before him. The monster looms over him, eliciting a pained grunt from Hyun-Yu Kim. He reviews his progress, noting that he's completed one of his tasks, with the forest village next on his list. A quiet satisfaction settles over him, knowing he isn't the only one capable of such feats. Meanwhile, others recall a powerful figure from the past, a man who once wielded immense, glowing power, while two hunters question the identity of a new arrival at the guild. He finds himself at the entrance of a vast, smoky cavern, the exit looming on the opposite side, a stark reminder that he isn't the only one with active abilities. A sense of awe, mixed with trepidation, washes over someone who never expected to encounter him in person. His journey leads him deep into the Ares Guild Korea branch office, to the fifth basement, where he surveys the executive department with a quiet exclamation. He wonders why the guild director of personnel would be found in such a secluded area. Approaching the branch manager, he declares his intention to reveal the truth, noting that only the head guild director of personnel is currently present. The branch manager, holding a business card, processes this revelation, asking if the guild director of personnel is indeed the individual who escaped from the Ares Guild some time ago. As a document detailing the applicant, Manhwa Kim, is reviewed, a voice questions if the information is entirely accurate, though another assures them it's merely a temporary analysis. Commander Ares, leaning back with a confident air, dismisses any concerns, stating that everything is under control and it's only a matter of time before their plans come to fruition. His subordinate, however, remains skeptical, questioning why they should trust the individual in question, especially after the branch manager sustained a significant injury. Ares simply smiles, reiterating his confidence in the person who handled the previous situation, assuring his subordinate that he will manage this one too. He then recalls the rumors surrounding the individual, specifically mentioning the one who escaped through a portal, confirming that this is indeed the person they are discussing. The subordinate acknowledges the gravity of the situation, remarking that the honor must have been substantial, to which Ares agrees, attributing it all to that specific individual. Ares, with a slight smirk, reassures his subordinate not to worry, explaining that the individual is currently occupied with the expansion efforts in China. He muses on the difficulty of inflicting a proper injury upon him, concluding that it's better to handle the matter discreetly rather than escalating the situation unnecessarily. His hand gestures subtly, emphasizing the point that the individual's involvement in the China expansion makes direct confrontation problematic. The executive director of personnel for the Ares Guild confirms the situation, acknowledging that the problem stems from that guy's pride. This is the story of China's newborn guild, known as the Overbearing Guild, which is rapidly expanding its power across the region, especially since its leader, Manhwa Kim, became a hunter. With each new portal that appears, the guild's influence grows, and it is said that when the sun rises, they will become the new rulers. Already, countless guilds have been devoured by their might, and any hunters who dared to oppose them have been mercilessly slaughtered. Amidst this rising power, a mysterious figure with a striking skull tattoo on her back remains unidentified in the world. Returning to the present, Commander Ares inquires about the Hyun-Yu Kim Guild, but his subordinate admits that with the Ares Guild's own expansion efforts, they lack the personnel to keep him under proper surveillance. Ares, undeterred, declares that they will send a carefully selected expert to handle the situation neatly. Hyun-Yu Kim, the subject of Commander Ares' recent concerns, sits absorbed in his phone, his attention fully captured by the screen. Nearby, Si-Hyun Kim observes him, sighing as he remarks that the new game is incredibly difficult and not enjoyable, causing him to consider quitting, before asking if Hyun-Yu Kim finds it equally unimpressive. Hyun-Yu Kim simply smiles, prompting Si-Hyun Kim to question why he is taking a photo of him. Si-Hyun Kim gasps in surprise, exclaiming at a strange picture on Hyun-Yu Kim's phone, urging him to look at the peculiar image. Hyun-Yu Kim, still focused on his device, acknowledges that it is indeed a game, wondering if it is acceptable to play for a while, then muses that the game's engine must be quite good, as he feels completely engrossed. Si-hyun Kim continues to observe, noting that Hyun-Yu Kim has been playing on his phone since he arrived, and expresses disbelief that he has already cleared the forest village and the mining cave, while their own soul guild struggles. Si-hyun Kim groans in frustration, then points out a critical detail. There is no boss monster in the game, a fact that Hyun-Yu Kim seems to acknowledge. Hyun-Yu Kim continues to stare intently at his phone, a soft thud echoing as he processes the information. Si-hyun Kim, exasperated, questions why there is no boss monster, before accusing Hyun-Yu Kim of cheating. He continues to play the mobile game, his avatar standing before a glowing portal, signaling the arrival of the exit on the opposite side of the dungeon. Yet, the game's difficulty is clearly escalating, as a massive blue monster and its smaller can appear on the screen, letting out a guttural cry. Observing his friend's intense focus, Si-hyun Kim questions, if you've already cleared the boss monster, then you're done with the game, right? Hyun-Yu Kim glances up, a slight frown on his face as Si-hyun Kim continues, the moment. Do I have to wait for 1 month more? The other man's frustration mounts, exclaiming, then the game is over. I haven't even cleared the first stage yet. Still engrossed in his phone, Hyun-Yu Kim calmly replies, that's not it. I still have to do that. He explains that to acquire a registered hunter license, one must first clear the dungeon, then obtain the license. A slight smirk plays on his lips as he adds, you also get money. Later, in the kitchen, Si-hyun Kim, now wearing rubber gloves, looks over at his still-playing friend, asking, does it come every single time after registering? You have to acquire new equipment every 10 minutes. Still processing the game's mechanics, Si-hyun listens as Hyun-Yu explains the rewards, detailing how clearing dungeons and hunting monsters can yield around 200 units of currency. He can only echo the amount in disbelief. The conversation shifts to action, with one voice urging immediate progress, only to be met with the practical reality that it's too late for the day. The decision is made to proceed the following morning, as the city lights twinkle against the night sky. The Hunter Association's ability measurement station stands tall, a beacon of assessment and power. Inside, footsteps echo softly, as someone moves through the building. Hyun-Yu Kim and Si-hyun Kim walk side by side, their expressions unreadable. A man with a neatly trimmed beard and a sharp suit looks on, his brow furrowed in concern. As he exclaims, don't tell me we're the only ones who came out of that damn gate. Hyun-Yu Kim responds simply, yes. The man's eyes widen in disbelief, muttering to himself, just today alone, so many people came out of the gate, and among them, Hyun-Woo Kim. As Hyun-Yu Kim stands before him, Si-hyun Kim inquires if he has arrived, his thoughts confirming the identity of the young man. Meanwhile, Commander Ares reflects on the situation, acknowledging that Hyun-Yu Kim's exam scores are surprisingly good. Back at the station, Si-hyun Kim confirms the authenticity of the results, while Hyun-Yu Kim explains that the gate consumes all attention and mana, rendering skills unusable. The mysterious investigator's eye device glows with an ethereal purple light, ready to reveal the truth. As the gate remains open, a new hunter is forged, a process Hyun-Yu Kim watches intently on the screen. A soft whirring sound accompanies the activation of the holographic display, as the results begin to materialize. Hyun-Yu Kim's eyes widen slightly, a single word escaping his lips as he processes the B-rank result. Commander Ares' face contorts in disbelief, his mind reeling at the thought of an unranked individual achieving such a high status. Hyun-Yu Kim turns away, perhaps contemplating his new reality, while Si-hyun Kim, looking down, resolves to have a serious discussion with him. He stares down at his phone, a single word escaping his lips as he processes the unfolding news. The public's reaction is one of utter disbelief, a collective scream of such a crazy, echoing through the online world. The sheer absurdity of the situation makes many question if it even makes sense. On the bulletin boards, the headlines scream of a big issue, with Hyun-Woo Kim is totally crazy trending as he watches the chaos unfold. Online comments flood in, with users like OO expressing disbelief that the grades of all abilities of the advanced player except Magic are A, and LL getting goosebumps, while OLO2 simply states their jealousy. Hyun-Yu Kim reads through the comments, pondering the system, thinking that because the grades of the ability for each class are A, it's a B rank overall, and wondering if that's how it's calculated, or if it's simply an average. Looking up from his screen, he concludes, that's not how it works. Back to the comments, he sees a familiar voice chiding him, asking how many hours do you spend online, and suggesting he should go out, because everybody you know is online already? Sitting in his car, Hyun-Yu Kim responds to the comment. He doesn't seem to care about this stuff, though, Si-hyun remarks, glancing at his passenger. This is your first time getting a B rank, so you should be happy. You're acting like it's your first time getting an F rank. Hyun-Yu turns to him, a serious expression on his face. You need to be more careful from now on. He warns, knowing the Ares Guild is truly dangerous. Are you listening to me? He presses, a faint sound of something cracking in the background. He grins, a playful thought escaping him. Hunter, please do all kinds of good things. Kuaha, Hyung. Meanwhile, Si-hyun, focused on the road, simply states, this is me. A silent chuckle escapes him. As Si-hyun's expression subtly shifts, a hint of annoyance crossing his features. He reiterates, "This is me," before a sudden huh escapes him. As Ha-in-yu turns to him, a pointed question on his lips, "Don't you have things to do?" Si-hyun, clearly bewildered, asks, "What are you talking about?" Ha-in-yu simply gestures to his phone, displaying images of Soo-kwon-hyung and Seo-yeon, and remarks, "Soo-kwon-hyung and Seo-yeon look like you have free time." Still in the car, Ha-in-yu playfully challenges his companion, asking if he truly believes he's the only one with a busy schedule. A smirk playing on his lips, he presses the point, suggesting that couldn't possibly be the truth. Meanwhile, deep within the Aries Guild building, the fifth basement housed the executive department office, a place of quiet authority. There, a man in a sharp suit stood with an air of stern composure, his presence commanding attention. He looked down at a document, perhaps an application or report, his expression unreadable. Later, seated at his expansive desk, he reviewed information on a tablet, his focus unwavering. Ha-in-yu, now standing in the same office with Si-hyun, tries to reassure him, insisting he's only there for a conversation. The man at the desk, a sinister smile spreading across his face, reveals his identity, stating he was the one who summoned Chongkang-shin. Both Ha-in-yu and Si-hyun react with visible shock, the name Chongkang-shin echoing with unexpected significance. A subtle, knowing smirk plays across Chongkang-shin's lips, his gaze fixed on something unseen. Meanwhile, a phone screen flashes with the time, 21:59 p.m., and a notification announces that the boss will arrive soon. As they venture deeper into the night, a voice muses about the path ahead, remarking that there were ghosts blocking this path, and attributing it to my old opponent, followed by a sharp, cutting sound. Another phone screen confirms their destination, Forest Village, with the time now approaching 11:50 and a simple, soon indicating their imminent arrival. Chongkang-shin, leading the way, declares it good, and urges them to let's go in, with Ha-in-yu and Si-hyun readily agreeing. The trio proceeds down the dark, winding path. A faint, unsettling sound echoing through the trees as they disappear into the gloom. A close-up reveals Chongkang-shin's face, now contorted into a wide, sinister grin, his eyes glowing with an ominous red light, as the narrative declares, "To be continued." Despite the unsettling display, the three continue their journey, with one suggesting, "Let's do the next chapter," and another readily agreeing, "Sure." The group continues their trek through the dark, star-dusted forest, the path barely visible beneath their feet, as one of them voices a concern, asking if anyone else was seen. Another admits to feeling a growing unease in the eerie surroundings, while from slightly behind, Chongkang-shin observes the others, his gaze lingering on a particular detail as he silently wonders about a specific belt. A wide, unsettling grin then spreads across his face, illuminated from below, revealing a row of sharp, predatory teeth. Si-hyun Kim points a finger, demanding to know who this mysterious figure is, while Ha-in-yu Kim, looking down thoughtfully, explains that he is a hunter who owns something significant. As they walk along a forested path, Ha-in-yu Kim continues, asking if his companion understands the concept of profit, which elicits a surprised exclamation of money from Si-hyun Kim. Ha-in-yu Kim clarifies that with many employed hunters, the guild's profit is quite substantial, adding that someone with a guild as large as his, who acts so casually, must have an unimaginable amount of wealth, especially considering that drops are used for crafting armor and weapons. Si-hyun Kim, holding his phone, tentatively asks if he can also achieve such success, to which Ha-in-yu Kim responds with a questioning glance, stating that he doesn't care much about it, and asks what his companion intends to do with such wealth. He considers the vast sums of money involved, asking what his companion intends to do with such wealth. A playful scoff escapes him, and he offers a generous 8-2 split, seemingly amused by the idea. Suddenly, the scene shifts, as if falling through a memory, into the dense canopy of a forest. There, his companion extends a hand, offering something to him as he lies on the ground. He takes the item, a piece of paper, and looks at it with a puzzled expression, wondering what it could be. His companion explains the dangers of entering the forest from the front and the risks of getting lost in the dungeon if one circles around. The paper reveals itself to be a detailed map, showing intricate paths and structures. He stares at the map in utter surprise, realizing it's a dungeon map for the tutorial tower. He stands alone in a dark, cavernous space, his gaze fixed downward as if contemplating the very ground beneath his feet, a silent question hanging in the air. What could possibly be the matter, he wonders, a soft hum escaping his lips. Meanwhile, far from the shadowed depths, a serene forest thrives under the open sky, its ancient trees reaching towards the light. Back in the darkness, a sudden voice cuts through the silence, causing him to look up, acknowledging the caller with a simple affirmation. From the other end of the line, Ha-in-yu Kim's voice carries a clear instruction, urging him to execute his next move with precision. A confident smirk plays on Si-hyun Kim's lips, his eyes gleaming with a mischievous resolve. He holds his phone up, listening intently to the continued guidance. A dismissive humph is the only response from Ha-in-yu Kim, a clear sign of his expectations. As the conversation concludes, a surge of glowing energy erupts, signaling the activation of a powerful system or skill. A brilliant blue energy erupts around Si-hyun Kim, his eyes glowing with an intense, almost electric light as the power surges through him. Suddenly, his expression shifts to one of surprise and alarm as a monstrous creature appears, its grotesque form briefly visible amidst the swirling blue. The blue energy expands rapidly, rippling outwards with immense force. A pained gasp escapes him as the monster's image flashes again, its presence causing a visceral reaction. Far above a dense forest canopy, a figure plummets downwards, their body tumbling helplessly through the air. They continue their uncontrolled descent, the ground rushing up to meet them. The blue energy from before continues to ripple, its ethereal glow fading into the darkness. Suddenly, a guttural roar echoes through the space as the monstrous creature reveals its full, terrifying visage, jaws agape. The destination is clear, the forest village, home to the formidable twin-head ogre, a boss-level threat. His eyes widen in disbelief as Si-hyun Kim recognizes the monstrous form, exclaiming that it's truly the twin-head ogre, an impossible sight. Beside him, Hunter A echoes the sentiment, uttering a disbelieving cry before steeling himself and urging them forward. Meanwhile, a thought echoes through the air, wondering if Hyun-Yu Kim truly managed to reach the boss in a single day, his form now radiating a faint blue glow. Standing among a group of other hunters, Hyun-Yu Kim confidently declares his status as an advanced player. The monstrous twin-head ogre lets out a guttural roar, its presence dominating the cavernous space. With a decisive thud, Hyun-Yu Kim's foot lands firmly on the ground, having completed his rapid descent. He charges forward, a powerful blue electrical aura crackling around him as he closes the distance to the ogre. The ogre roars in defiance, but Hyun-Yu Kim's relentless charge continues, his blue energy intensifying around the monstrous foe. Hyun-Yu Kim unleashes his power, a battle cry escaping his lips as he strikes. His electrical attack connects with the twin-head ogre's arm, erupting in a blinding blue explosion that engulfs the massive monster. The force of the blast continues to push the ogre back, leaving it reeling from the sustained electrical assault. Debris and rain cascade down in the wake of the powerful impact. He lands lightly, already preparing for his next move. From a distance, Hunter A watches, his eyes wide with shock at the sheer power displayed. Small, glowing particles drift through the dark air, the last remnants of the devastating attack. Standing alone on a desolate, rocky peak, he gazes out at the vast expanse, the echoes of his recent battle still lingering in the air. Taking a moment to collect himself, he reassures himself that he can handle whatever comes next. Meanwhile, in a different location, Chang Kang-shin crouches low in a dense forest, his expression thoughtful. Later, in a more formal setting, Chang Kang-shin sits across from another hunter, who asks if the rumors about Hyun-Yu Kim being a hunter are true, to which Chang Kang-shin confirms his status. The man named Chang Kang-shin considers the implications, his thoughts turning to the young hunter's reputation. The other hunter, Hunter A, affirms that he witnessed Hyun-Yu Kim's power firsthand, his voice filled with a hint of awe. Chang Kang-shin nods, acknowledging the truth in the rumors, describing Hyun-Yu Kim as a monster-like guy. A vision of Hyun-Yu Kim, crackling with blue electrical energy, flashes through Chang Kang-shin's mind, a testament to the power he so clearly admired. Hunter A chuckles into the phone, asking if there's anything Byun-woo Kim can't do. A subtle ha escapes Chang Kang-shin as he listens, a slight smirk playing on his lips. The conversation concerns the Ares Guild, specifically a noble swamp dungeon under their management, where the hunter has just been sent. With the call concluded, the hunter turns and walks away, a heavy sound marking his departure. The destination is the visible swamp entrance. Chang Kang-shin arrives at the location, a large building surrounded by trees. He gazes up at the sky, leaves rustling softly around him. An uncomfortable feeling washes over him, making him wonder if it's merely his imagination. A soft vibration pulls Hyun-Yu Kim from his thoughts, his expression unreadable. He glances down at his phone, a subtle shift in his features. The screen displays a message from Seo Kwon, asking if he's heading to the visible swamp and reminding him about Ares. A faint smirk plays on his lips as he considers the message, wondering if Seo Kwon truly believes himself to be the director of Ares. With a final glance at his phone, he turns and walks away, the device still buzzing in his hand. Meanwhile, a fierce purple glow emanates from a sharp, intense eye. Si-hyun Kim's face is contorted with a dark resolve, his purple eyes burning with an inner power. He declares with absolute conviction that he doesn't care about Ares or anything else. A man with short, light hair grins, a hand raised to his mouth as if savoring a private joke, while unseen voices cry out, "What do you mean with save?" And then, with growing panic, "Run." A young woman with long, dark blue hair leans forward, her expression earnest as she asks, "Appa, why do you want to go to the exclusive dungeon of the Ares Guild for Seekers?" Hyun-Yu Kim looks back at her, a hint of surprise on his face. She continues, her gaze steady, "I'll tell you the reason." He then asks, his brow slightly furrowed, "What business?" She clarifies, "I told you I have some business to take care of. The Ares Guild, right?" Hyun-Yu responds with a slight smile, "That too, a little bit." The young woman watches him, her expression unreadable. A moment later, She closes her eyes, a hand rising to her temple as if in thought or mild distress, letting out a soft sigh. She dismisses her own apprehension, believing these worries to be entirely unnecessary. He had said it like this, but the words still echoed with a strange weight. A faint smile played on his lips, a calm assurance despite the gravity of his declaration. Suddenly, a voice boomed, accusing him of being a little punk and questioning his actions with fierce intensity. His own expression twisted into a snarl, his patience wearing thin as he warned the other not to provoke his temper. A concerned woman stepped forward, trying to de-escalate the situation before they collided. But before she could fully intervene, the hunter found himself on the ground, utterly stunned by the swiftness of Hyenwoo's counter. Hyenwoo stood over him, a familiar exasperation in his voice as he questioned why his friend's temper never seemed to change. With a soft thud, Hyenwoo extended a hand, offering to help the still recovering hunter to his feet. The unnamed woman watched the scene unfold, her thoughts drifting to the significance of a guild leader's name and the feelings it evoked. Hyenwoo Kim, his expression unreadable, questions the situation, his words hanging in the air. Before the other man can fully articulate his outrage, a guttural sound of frustration escapes him, his face contorted in anger. Hyenwoo's hand descends with brutal efficiency, striking down with a resounding impact. The force of the strike sends the man reeling, shattering the ground beneath him. A final burst of blue energy erupts from the point of impact, confirming the decisive end of the confrontation. Moments later, the scene shifts to a quiet exterior, a building standing peacefully amidst lush greenery under a clear sky. The tranquil setting offers a stark contrast to the recent violence. As Hyenwoo stands, eyes closed, a hand pressed to his temple, a silent moment of contemplation or perhaps lingering pain. His foot, clad in simple sandals, sinks slightly into the soft earth, a subtle sign of his presence and the weight of his actions. Hyenwoo stands at the edge of a rocky precipice, a soft breeze rustling past him. Below, a massive, reptilian eye, glowing with an eerie orange light, slowly opens. Suddenly, a blur of motion erupts from the depths, closing the distance with terrifying speed. A monstrous, clawed foot slams onto the ground, sending tremors through the earth. The impact shatters the very rock beneath it, debris exploding outwards. Hyenwoo watches, a thoughtful expression on his face, as the sheer power of the creature becomes evident. The colossal beast continues its frenzied assault, its movements a chaotic whirlwind of destruction. Finally, it rears its head, a gigantic mega alligator roaring into the sky, its eyes burning crimson as a system window identifies it as the swamp's boss. A sudden, unseen force erupts with blinding speed, causing Hyenwoo to gasp in surprise, his eyes widening at the unexpected development. Meanwhile, a nearby female explains that the monster's hide is not only tough and thick, but also contains anti-magic properties. She wonders aloud about its rough texture, as Hyenwoo considers her words. The mega alligator's razor-sharp teeth gleam menacingly, a clear sign of its predatory nature. Another surge of speed indicates an imminent strike, and before he can react, Hyenwoo is violently struck by a powerful blue energy blast, sending him reeling. The impact is immense, a shocking display of the monster's raw power. As the dust settles, the mega alligator's massive snout lunges forward, its jaws snapping with deadly intent. As the energy blast from the mega alligator struck, a dark projectile slammed into the ground nearby, sending dirt and debris flying into the air. Reacting instantly, Hyenwoo Kim declared his intent to end the confrontation swiftly, while the unnamed female beside him urged him to give it his all. Before they could fully process the impact, the mega alligator lunged forward with terrifying speed, its massive jaws snapping through the air. But Hyenwoo was faster, twisting his body in midair to deliver a powerful spinning kick, aimed directly at the charging beast. The blow connected with a deafening quang, rocking the colossal creature. The mega alligator recoiled violently, its head snapping back as water erupted around it, a guttural roar escaping its throat as if asking, "Where are you running off to?" Still thrashing from the impact, its massive jaws remained wide open amidst the splashing water. Having landed gracefully, Hyenwoo returned the monster's challenge with a confident smirk. "No, where are you running off to? Huh?" The mega alligator's eye, now wide with surprise and a hint of fear, reflected its sudden realization of the tables turning. Hyenwoo moves with blinding speed, a blur of motion as he launches himself into a powerful spinning kick, his body twisting midair, before his foot connects with the mega alligator's massive form, sending a shockwave through the air. The impact is immense, and the colossal beast is thrown violently backward. It tumbles through the air, its massive body losing all control as it crashes down. A close-up reveals the monster's eye, wide with a mixture of pain and disbelief. A low, guttural growl, a sound of primal fury and hurt, rumbles from its throat. Finally, its enormous foot slams against the ground with a heavy thud, shaking the very earth. From the depths of the dark, smoky cavern, an ominous presence began to stir, its power radiating outward in a chilling, purple-black haze. The mega alligator, enraged from the previous blow, let out a thunderous roar, its massive form towering over Hyenwoo Kim, eyes glowing a furious red. A guttural growl escaped its reptilian throat, promising swift retaliation. Its enormous jaws gaped open, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth. With a terrifying snap, the jaws slammed shut. The impact reverberated through the air, a heavy thud echoing in the confined space. Hyenwu, initially startled by the sudden ferocity, quickly composed himself, a determined glint in his eyes as he prepared his next move. He questioned the monster's unexpected aggression, but his focus remained unwavering. With a surge of power, glowing red chains materialized around his hands, ready to bind his formidable foe. As the glowing red chains manifest around his arm, a surge of raw power emanates from Hyenwu Kim. Meanwhile, a shadowed figure watches, their eyes glowing ominously, a sinister grin spreading across their face. Unaware of the hidden observer, Hyenwu Kim simply smiles, a calm expression on his face as he surveys his surroundings. Elsewhere, a hunter, clutching a knife, mutters to himself, convinced that something is amiss. Another hunter, clad in armor and wielding a sword, echoes the sentiment, sensing a profound disturbance. His face contorted in frustration, he demands answers, questioning the brevity of their current mission. Suddenly, glowing red chains erupt from the darkness, coiling around Hyenwu Kim, binding him tightly. The chains constrict further, their metallic links groaning with an ominous sound. As they bind him, Hyenwu Kim's expression twists into a menacing grin, his eyes now glowing a malevolent red as a dark purple aura flares around him. An unseen voice echoes with chilling finality, commanding him to die. The monstrous presence is further revealed by a grotesque, chained hand, its fingers gnarled and powerful. And from the depths of the darkness, a gaping, fanged maw lets out a guttural sound. A sudden, swift energy burst ripples through the air, leaving behind a trail of glowing blue particles. As the light fades, glowing red chains materialize, causing him to gasp in surprise. He can only manage a soft, The chains coil and tighten around him, leaving him to wonder, what is this? Now fully restrained by the glowing crimson links, a voice from an unseen source answers, what you ask? It's a magic chain. He struggles against the magical bonds, a faint whooshing sound accompanying his futile efforts. Suddenly, an older man with glasses appears, a confident smile on his face, the same red chains now visible on his arm, as he declares, it's my perfect skill. The man addresses him directly, Hyenwu Kim. Hyenwu Kim, still bound, demands, who are you? Standing tall, the man extends his hand, the glowing chains stretching towards Hyenwu Kim with a soft thud, as he begins, if I were to introduce myself. His voice echoes against a vibrant, glowing backdrop. I'm an important person who was sent from the Ares Guild in order to observe you. The observer from the Ares Guild, his face illuminated by a crimson glow, regards his captive with a knowing smile. He remarks on Hyenwu Kim's unexpected abilities, finding him truly impressive. The observer recalls how easily Hyenwu Kim dispatched the mega alligator earlier, and then sent the twin-head ogre flying with a single strike. Such displays of strength made him understand the full extent of the young man's power. However, his tone shifts as he questions if Hyenwu Kim can maintain that strength while bound by the chains. Hyenwu Kim, still on the ground, stares at the glowing red restraints, wondering what they are. He tries to move, but the chains hold firm, completely unyielding. These are no ordinary restraints, they are magic chains. Still bound by the glowing purple chains, he struggles against their unyielding grip, while the observer from the Ares Guild continues his unsettling monologue, explaining that the chains are not merely magic, but a combination of magic and luck. He elaborates, stating that the chains are designed to be unbreakable by anyone who hasn't been lucky enough to clear the tower, a feat he implies is beyond Hyenwu Kim's current capabilities. The observer then asks if he knows the right hunt, his words dripping with condescension as Hyenwu Kim looks on, his face etched with frustration. Hyenwu Kim can only respond with a bewildered, me? He questions his own situation, wondering if he's truly in a crisis, his expression shifting from confusion to growing alarm. The observer, a sinister smile spreading across his face, then mentions the individuals who received the commission, hinting at a deeper plot. Hyenwu Kim redoubles his efforts, straining against the glowing purple chains, but they hold firm, forcing him to admit, I can't break it. The observer continues, explaining that he's talking about luck and the tricks needed to get out, to which Hyenwu Kim responds with a skeptical, is that so? Despite his current helplessness, a flicker of fierce determination ignites in Hyenwu Kim's eyes, his hand clenching into a tight fist as he resolves to find a way. Still bound, a heavy impact reverberates through his body. As the chains tighten, a voice echoing in his mind, mocking his very existence and telling him he's ruining his life. He screams in defiance, the pain and frustration building to an unbearable crescendo, until suddenly, the oppressive chains begin to glow with an ominous purple light, radiating an explosive energy. The purple energy swirls violently around him, growing in intensity. And with a guttural roar, Hyenwu Kim unleashes a torrent of power, his eyes burning with a deadly purple glow as he declares the poison within him. A massive explosion of purple energy erupts from his form, tearing through the air, his silhouette momentarily swallowed by the blinding, roaring purple blast. As the explosive force dissipates, only fading particles remain, leaving behind a lingering sense of raw power. He grins menacingly, a purple blade glowing in his hand as the magic chains around him begin to crackle with unleashed power. The raw energy explodes outward, a deafening roar of purple light and force. He stands amidst the dissipating chaos, a deep exhale escaping his lips. His eyes narrow, a fierce determination hardening his features as the last vestiges of the purple aura swirl around him. The energy finally settles, leaving him calm and composed, a faint hum of power lingering in the air. His gaze snaps forward, a single word escaping him as he recognizes a presence, saying, "You." He continues, "What are?" A man with spiky purple hair stares in wide-eyed horror, his face contorted in disbelief. He looks up at a colossal, shadowy monster with glowing red eyes. The words, my attack, barely a whisper as Hyun-Yu Kim also turns to face the towering threat. He stares at the shattered remnants of his power, a disbelief washing over him as his previous efforts prove utterly useless. The purple chains that bound him glow with a faint, ethereal light, but even they seem to falter, leaving him vulnerable. As the magical restraints begin to crack and dissipate, a sudden, unseen force slams into him, sending a jolt of pain through his body as the last of the chains shatter around him. Refusing to be overwhelmed, Hyun-Yu Kim moves with blinding speed, drawing a blade and lunging forward in a desperate counterattack. His sword slices through the air, a sharp, cutting sound echoing in the confined space. Yet, before his attack can land, an even faster blow connects, a powerful fist striking him squarely in the face, twisting his features in shock and pain. As he reels from the impact, a colossal, shadowy form manifests before him, its glowing red eyes burning with malevolent energy, radiating an oppressive aura that distorts the very air. The sheer force of its appearance unleashes a devastating shockwave, a silent scream of raw power that rips through the environment. Hyun-Yu Kim is still reeling from the unseen attack, blood splattering as the force impacts him. With a metallic clang, the magical chains binding his legs shatter, leaving him momentarily stunned and unable to move. An observing man in a red jacket calls out to him. Now free, Hyun-Yu Kim holds up a broken piece of the chain, defiantly stating that his captor should have bound him completely if they truly wanted to catch him. The man in the red jacket reacts with a surprised, almost disbelieving expression, muttering about the audacity of the young man. Despite his previous injuries, a powerful purple aura erupts around Hyun-Yu Kim's legs, the remnants of the chains glowing intensely as he dismisses the attack, claiming he is fine. He looks down, a sigh escaping him, acknowledging that his previous attempt to use his power had been ineffective anyway. Suddenly, a brilliant blue light streaks down from the sky, impacting the ground with immense force, sending debris flying. As the dust settles, Hyun-Yu Kim's hand reaches out towards the shimmering, glowing particles left behind by the impact. He slams the observer to the ground, the impact drawing a pained cry from the man. A guttural groan escapes him, his face contorted in agony. Hyun-Yu Kim then hauls him up by his collar, his voice sharp as he questions the man's intentions. The observer's face remains etched in pain, as Hyun-Yu Kim reminds him of the gravity of his actions. A weak gasp escapes the man, his body still reeling from the assault. Suddenly, the ground trembles as a massive alligator, its scales glinting, bursts from the murky water. It lets out a deafening roar, its powerful jaws snapping open. The creature's guttural cry echoes through the cavern, a clear sign of its predatory intent. Caught off guard, Hyun-Yu Kim is sent plummeting downwards, a scream tearing from his throat as he's enveloped in a brilliant blue aura. The blue energy that had engulfed him now swirls with intense, sparkling power, coalescing around a new, formidable presence. Suddenly, he stands, foot planted firmly on the chest of the Ares Guild observer, demanding to know what the man thinks he is doing. The observer struggles, barely able to utter a sound, as Hyun-Yu Kim's voice cuts through the air. Nothing much, just some payback. His expression hardens, a foot pressing down with finality, promising the retribution will be swift. The observer cries out, questioning the sudden turn of events, as Hyun-Yu Kim dismisses him with a cold, "Have a safe trip," the sound of impact punctuating his words. Hyun-Yu Kim is violently thrown upwards, a burst of blue and white energy erupting around him. The force of the impact still propelling him higher, his arm visible amidst the swirling chaos. Yet, he quickly regains his composure, turning to assess his surroundings with a determined gaze, his expression resolute despite the sudden assault. The oppressive, confined space gives way to an open, sunlit landscape, a vast sky stretching above distant, rugged terrain. Standing at the edge of a murky pool, Hyun-Yu Kim gazes intently at a massive, scaly form half submerged in the water, its sheer size hinting at immense power. The creature reveals itself to be a mega alligator, its powerful jaws and sharp teeth barely hidden beneath the surface, a low growl escaping its throat. Hyun-Yu Kim stares down at the formidable beast, a soft groan escaping his lips as he takes in the challenge before him. A soft blue glow emanates from Hyun-Yu Kim as he processes the system's message, confirming he has cleared the minimum attestations and unlocked a new skill. He considers this development, a thoughtful hum escaping him, his expression a mixture of surprise and contemplation. Meanwhile, deep within the Aries Guild's fifth basement, the executive department office hums with a different kind of activity. Inside, Chang Kang-shin addresses the Aries Guild observer, his words carrying a weight of concern. The observer listens intently, offering a simple affirmation in response. Chang Kang-shin continues, revealing that the tree, where he was supposed to be thriving, has been completely eradicated, driven into the ground. The observer's expression darkens as Shin elaborates on the monsters in the visible swamp, describing them as unusually varied in size and hinting at another, more ominous presence. A sharp intake of breath escapes the observer, his concern palpable. The system continued to process information, displaying details for both Hunter Chang Kang-shin and Hunter Hyun-woo Kim. Before revealing a list of 7 new skills: deadly poison, chain, hide, endurance, and body. Engrossed in his tablet, Hyun-woo Kim saw a notification flash across the screen. Hyun-woo Kim beat. A thought crossed his mind, wondering if someone like Chang Kang-shin could be involved. A sinister expression briefly crossed his face, before a frustrated, almost pained laugh escaped him. Meanwhile, in the Aries Guild's executive office, Chang Kang-shin sat at his desk, while the observer stood nearby, the guild's emblem prominently displayed on the wall. As night fell over the city, the towering buildings glowed with artificial light. Hyun-woo Kim was finally seen resting on a comfortable couch, his thoughts perhaps still lingering on the day's revelations. Hyun-woo Kim lay peacefully asleep, the soft sounds of his breathing filling the quiet room. Unbeknownst to him, a faint, almost imperceptible hum began to emanate from a nearby document, signaling a change. Suddenly, his eyes snapped open, confronted by an unexpected and glowing status window hovering before him. A soft, blue light pulsed from the ethereal screen, displaying cryptic information that instantly captured his attention. The window identified him as Hyun-woo Kim, a temporary guardian, and revealed a new skill, Status Authority, allowing him to check the status of any selected target. His gaze sharpened, absorbing every detail of the unexpected revelation. Another message appeared, an invitation from the system itself, offering him a limited time to accept his new role as temporary guardian. Lying back down, a single question echoed in his mind, wondering what exactly was happening to him. He stared at the glowing text, a profound sense of change washing over him as the system continued to update. As the system's invitation continued to loom, a digital timer displayed the remaining time, showing just over 2 hours left. He stared upward, his mind reeling, struggling to comprehend the sudden, inexplicable changes to his reality. The system's message, reflected in his wide eye, reiterated its invitation to him, the temporary guardian, leaving him to ponder the true meaning behind its words. Lying on the couch, he glanced at the clock, realizing with a jolt that it was only 11, meaning he had been unconscious for nearly half a day. Suddenly, a familiar voice cut through his thoughts, asking if he had come home early today. He looked up to see his uncle standing in the doorway, acknowledging his presence with a simple, "You're here." With a warm smile, his uncle instructed him to remain where he was, just for a short moment. Hyun-woo could only offer a confused glance, his mind still preoccupied with the system's mysteries. Suddenly, another system message flashed before his eyes, announcing the acquisition of Skill Information Authority and the method to obtain information by proving the target. This must be the new skill, he thinks. As a system window materializes before him, displaying Status Authority. The window then reveals a partially obscured name, S********* ing H*******, confirming his identity, but quickly follows with a frustrating message. You can't check the ability because you have the lowest level of the Status Authority. A wave of disbelief washes over him, his brow furrowing in confusion and annoyance. The system reiterates its limitation, making him exclaim, "Where am I supposed to use such a useless thing?" He slumps, defeated by the seemingly pointless ability. When a voice from nearby asks, "What did you say?" Startled, he quickly clarifies, "Not you. I was talking to myself." The mundane interruption brings him back to reality, as his phone screen shows the time, 11:58. Hyun-woo Kim sits in a modern room, his back to the viewer, lost in the depths of his own thoughts. His gaze fixed downwards, a deep frustration etches itself onto his expression, even if the skill seems utterly useless. He acknowledges the change within him, yet laments the apparent uselessness of his new Status Authority skill, recognizing its lowest level limitation prevents any practical application, and resolves to find a way to raise its rank. Still holding a tissue box, he continues to ponder his situation, a quiet determination settling over him. His thoughts then shift to the urgent need for more information about the tower, a crucial step in understanding his new reality. A digital clock display shows the time as exactly 12 o'clock, with a percentage of 81, hinting at an unseen countdown. Hyun-woo Kim remains seated, his posture reflecting a quiet contemplation of the unfolding events. As the room darkens, a soft click echoes, drawing his attention to an unseen shift. Suddenly, the air around him shimmers with bright, ethereal blue and white light, accompanied by a prolonged, resonant sound, as if something profound is beginning. He finds himself in a stark, brightly lit space, the light from above casting long shadows as he sits, contemplating his new surroundings. Looking up, he questions the sudden shift, wondering about the nature of this new space. A look of utter surprise crosses his face, his eyes wide with disbelief. From his position on the floor, he gazes up at a figure seated calmly behind a desk, bathed in an ethereal glow. The figure, a young woman with long, flowing white hair and luminous eyes, regards him with a serene expression. Her presence is composed and elegant, her feet neatly positioned beneath the desk. With a gentle smile, she greets him, identifying herself as his assistant, and introduces herself by name. Oh. Still on the floor, he stares at a floating screen, overwhelmed by the sudden turn of events, frustrated by the system's cryptic instructions to learn more about the tower. A vivid, almost prophetic, memory then flashes through his mind. Himself, overwhelmed and crying out that the world is ending, while Chongkang Shin, despite his own injuries, calmly reminds him that their journey is far from over. A serene, white-haired woman stands patiently, her light blue eyes scanning the empty space around her, wondering if he has arrived yet. As if on cue, she introduces herself, stating simply, "I'm your assistant." Her expression shifts slightly, a hint of confusion crossing her features as she repeats, "I'm you?" A male voice responds, a casual query in the air. "Oh." Han-Yu Kim, now seated beside his new assistant, clarifies with a warm smile. "You can casually call me like that since we will meet all the time from now on." His smile widens, a confident energy radiating from him, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead. His expression then hardens, his dark eyes gleaming with resolve as he thinks, now. A profound sense of destiny settles over him, a future where he will be truly feared, and he can finally hear the steady beat of his own heart. Meanwhile, the newly appointed assistant, Oh, contemplates her own existence, finding it vague and undefined. As they stand in the stark, ethereal space, Han-Yu Kim sits, observing Oh, who remains before him. He remains silent for a moment, processing the situation. Breaking the quiet, he leans forward, demanding to know, "Excuse me? Won't you explain that to me?" Oh looks at him, her expression unreadable, asking in return, "What kind of explanation are you talking about?" Rising from his seat, his frustration becoming clear, Han-Yu Kim presses her. "What kind of explanation, you ask? Didn't you write down everything I wanted to tell me somewhere?" Her gaze drops, and she admits, "I can't give you an answer." His brow furrows in confusion, still trying to grasp her meaning. "What are you talking about?" Han-Yu Kim presses his assistant. "You only answer things you're asked about. Is that what you mean?" "Yes," Oh replies simply, her fingers resting on the keyboard. A flicker of frustration crosses his face as he mutters, "What's such a?" He pauses, running a hand through his hair. Okay, then I'll ask you directly. Is it the person who didn't appear in the tutorial tower?" O's eyes widen slightly as she confirms, "That." He clarifies, "It's common knowledge I can't even use magic, so I must have the lowest rank. Do you mean that?" "What?" he exclaims, taken aback. "You only answer it when status is higher?" O states, to which he confirms, "That's right." Han-Yu Kim's gaze sharpens, a realization dawning on him. As the system's voice echoes, explaining that he cannot check this ability because he has the lowest level of status authority, and that all kinds of small things bother him. He questions his own standing, wondering if his status truly is the lowest, and who could have looked down on him in such a way. Oh, seated before him, confirms that this information cannot be disclosed due to the status authority. Han-Yu Kim pauses, deep in thought, before asking if he can at least know about the tutorial tower, only for Oh to reiterate that this information also remains inaccessible because of his lowest status authority. He presses further, inquiring about the reason monsters appear, but Oh's response remains unchanged, stating that this information too cannot be revealed. A wave of frustration washes over him, the system's constant restrictions grating on his nerves. Still reeling from the system's restrictions, Han-Yu Kim's frustration boils over, his eyes flaring with an angry red glow as he demands to know if Oh is deliberately messing with him. The system assistant, taken aback, questions his outburst, calmly stating that there's nothing more she can tell him. Oh looks away, her expression conveying a quiet apology as she repeats her inability to provide further assistance. His anger intensifying, Han-Yu Kim clenches his fists, the red glow in his eyes pulsing with his rising fury. Despite his outburst, Oh remains composed, offering a single, crucial piece of information. He looks at her, surprised by the mention of a guardian, as she clarifies that the guardian is the defender. His eyes still burning with a fierce light, Han-Yu Kim processes this new revelation, a defiant smirk playing on his lips. From above, Oh observes him, who now looks up, seemingly having absorbed the information and ready to move forward. Oh continues her explanation, stating that she can tell him about the things he desires, emphasizing her point with a raised finger. Han-Yu Kim, however, scoffs in disbelief, asking if she truly expects him to believe such claims, but Oh simply replies that this is precisely why she is telling him. Her eyes glowing with an inner light, Oh reminds him that he is currently a hunter. She then explains that if he formally accepts the role of a guardian, he will gain access to the things he desires. Han-Yu Kim listens intently as Oh adds that he will come to know the truth, even if he doesn't want to. Looking down in thought, he asks what he needs to do to become a guardian. 5 days later, Oh walks away, leaving him to ponder her words. Meanwhile, in the city where he lives, a crevasse is about to open in its deepest part. There will always be things that can raise your status and authority, Oh explains, and if you get this, you will become a real guardian. Hyun-Woo Kim listens intently. He considers the implications, his expression unreadable. Turning his back to the ethereal projection, he stares into the dark. I'm done with the lapis, he finally states, a decision made. I'll send you the details. A system message appears, detailing the next step. Verify yourself by entering lapis in the deep state of the crevasse that will soon open. The location is specified as Singhu International Airport at 2200 hours on August 27, 2022. He realizes, if I become a formal guardian, I can find out more. Chang Kang-shin's voice cuts through, urging him, go till the yendi. The word crevasse echoes in his mind, a sudden, alarming question mark against the backdrop of a bustling city street. Later, gathered with friends in a quiet restaurant, he brings up the unsettling term, asking directly, yeah, what exactly is a crevasse? His companions exchange confused glances, one letting out a soft gasp, while the other remains silent, processing the strange inquiry. He wonders internally why he's suddenly asking about such an obscure concept. But the urgency of the information compels him to press further. What? What is it? The very word crevasse conjures a vision of a gaping, dark abyss, a tear in reality that whispers of the apocalypse itself. A chilling realization dawns, a silent, horrified question hanging in the void. The ominous darkness deepens, hinting at untold dangers yet to be revealed. An unknown figure, masked and with white hair, cries out as a powerful impact sends white energy bursting around them. Hyun-Woo Kim, his eyes glowing red and a fiery aura erupting around him, shouts in fury, questioning why they constantly try to end their lives, while a system message flashes error and innocent as a hand attempts to hold him back. The towering structure of the Ares Guild headquarters dominates the urban landscape. Its interior bustling with activity as Chang Kang-shin stands amidst his subordinates. He considers the situation, a subtle tension in his posture. A sigh escapes him as he laments, humph, there's no one who can do it. He continues, his thoughts turning to the protagonist. The executive director is the most powerful guy, but he ends up in the hands of Hyun-Woo. A smirk plays on his lips as he challenges, don't you think something should be done? He then adds, I don't blame you. His expression hardens, a fierce resolve in his eyes as he questions, right now, before affirming, I have to protect him. With a final, intense look, he warns, if you're going to do it, then I'll never forgive you for messing up. Chang Kang-shin stands in his office, his gaze fixed on a screen, as he declares his unwavering support for Hyun-Woo. He then issues a stern command to properly deal with a jerk who is clearly connected to Hyun-Woo, whose profile is displayed on the screen. His expression hardens, a single, resolute, yes confirming his intent. Later, seated and lost in thought, he murmurs, pondering what comes next. His eyes close, a moment of quiet contemplation before the weight of his responsibilities settles upon him. He knows he must now focus on the Pado Guild, especially with rumors of international backing from powerful nations like China and the US. Standing by the window, overlooking the city lights, he reaffirms his guild's devotion to its members, even if it means dealing with some crappy trooper for special operations. A blue-haired subordinate, his face grim, acknowledges the directive with a simple, understood. Back at his screen, Chang Kang-shin feigns nonchalance, dismissing his own thoughts as nothing when questioned. His brow furrowed in deep thought, Chang Kang-shin's resolve hardens, his expression grim as he considers the challenges ahead, affirming his commitment to a course of action. Meanwhile, in a bustling urban district, Hyun-Woo Kim's eyes widen in astonishment, a brilliant sparkle reflecting his sheer excitement. He holds up a shimmering ring, its value immediately apparent, realizing this single piece of jewelry is worth an astounding 2 billion won. Back in his office, Chang Kang-shin calmly instructs a subordinate regarding a maze, clarifying that he isn't asking for it to be cleared, but rather for a different objective. Elsewhere, Hyun-Woo Kim stands with a blue-haired woman and another man, as the woman identifies the ring he found as a genuine artifact. Surrounded by various magical stones and equipment, Hyun-Woo Kim reflects on their origins, noting that these valuable drops come from the monsters he's been defeating. In an elevator, he continues to ponder the nature of these items, realizing that the artifact equipment obtained from Maze Rewards functions effectively from the outset. The other man, with a knowing smile, confirms this, explaining that their inherent power comes from being enchanted. As his companions discuss the concept of enchanted items, wondering if they function like those found in games, he confirms their assumption. Holding the artifact ring, Hyun-Woo Kim explains that enchanted items possess far greater abilities than they might imagine, his eyes glowing with a subtle red light as he speaks. The ring itself, now radiating a soft purple glow, seems to hum with latent power in his hand. A system window materializes, identifying the item as the Ring of Lee Taekam, a D-rank artifact currently without an owner and its status unidentified, but noting the possibility of confirming its hidden information using a skill called Status Authority. He lets out a surprised "oh." He ponders the revelation, wondering if he can indeed confirm its properties with his skill. As he activates Status Authority, The ring flares with a brilliant red aura, its true nature beginning to reveal itself. Another system window appears, this time declaring the Ring of Li Taikam to be an S-class artifact, with repeated mentions of lacking authority, suggesting a complex history or condition. He exclaims, "Such a bomb." His face contorts into an exaggerated, delighted grin, eyes wide with shock and pure joy at the incredible revelation. Meanwhile, his companions, still seated, look utterly bewildered, one of them asking, "What the hell is status authority?" Chongqing Shin leans forward, his voice low as he asks about the ring's value, wondering if it truly commanded 2 billion, to which Hyun-Woo Kim simply confirms. Later, as a lavish meal is served, Hyun-Woo Kim muses to himself that it is fortunate he is there to consume it all. "Oh," surprised by his appetite, exclaims in disbelief, asking if he can truly eat everything, but he confidently assures her that he can. Chongqing Shin encourages him to eat his fill, and the young man responds with a simple, appreciative sound. Then, with a more serious expression, Hyun-Woo Kim asks if they happen to know the guildmaster. The three continue their meal, the conversation flowing around the table. The restaurant hums with a quiet elegance, its warm lighting casting a gentle glow. As the delicious food sits before him, Hyun-Woo Kim's thoughts drift to the concept of the thing called the ring he holds, a relic that speaks of a world where the earth cracks and chaos never ends, a world of monsters. As the conversation continues, O clarifies, "Is that it? We also call it the Hell Gate." He reflects on the gravity of the situation, realizing that if he hadn't acquired the S-class ring, he would have remained oblivious to the true nature of this monster's world. Turning to him, O then asks, "What do you think will happen to the monster's world?" Chongqing Shin lets out a frustrated sigh, a sentiment Hyun-Woo Kim silently echoes. He continues his internal monologue, contemplating that while they might be able to stop the monsters, even killing the lowest C-rank creatures would leave the world a desolate wasteland. Chongqing Shin then adds, "It's for sure that the guildmaster would send Odin and Sleipnir." As he continues to eat, a single word escapes Hyun-Woo Kim's lips, "Scumbags." His fork slices through the steak. Before he looks up, addressing the others with a sharp gaze, "Guys." After a tense discussion, Hyun-Woo Kim, Chongqing Shin, and O finally settle into a more relaxed atmosphere, with one of them suggesting they simply eat and take a 4-day break. Meanwhile, high above the bustling Seoul International Airport, a commercial airplane glides through the sky. Inside the terminal, a woman and a man suddenly turn, their expressions shifting to surprise, as the woman questions what is happening. As they stand with their luggage, the man wonders if the flight had just departed, and the woman, still processing, asks if it's truly real. Before they can fully comprehend the situation, a tremendous impact rocks the building, a deafening crash echoing through the air. The force continues, tearing through the structure, as massive cracks spiderweb across a concrete wall. With a sickening tear, a monstrous, glowing red hand bursts through the shattered barrier. The man and woman recoil in sheer terror, their shocked cries swallowed by the chaos. The monstrous appendage, radiating malevolent red energy, continues to emerge from the gaping hole. As the chaos of the monster attack lingered in the air, Hyun-Woo Kim's eyes widen in genuine surprise, a broad smile spreading across his face as he exclaims about the incredible speed of an unseen event. A grand, Gothic chamber, dark and imposing, stretches upwards with arched windows reaching into the unseen ceiling. Into this vast space, Hyun-Woo Kim steps, his gaze drawn upward to an intricate, circular pattern on the ceiling, a silent testament to the ancient architecture surrounding him. As he takes in the sight, a familiar voice echoes, questioning his presence, wondering if his arrival is truly for the best. Oh, her luminous eyes glowing with an ethereal light, continues to speak, her words carrying a hint of concern as she clarifies her intentions. Hyun-Woo Kim offers a slight, knowing smile, his expression calm amidst the unfolding mystery. With her eyes still radiating a soft glow, Oh confirms her understanding, then pulls him into a warm embrace. The scene blurs and distorts, as if reality itself is shifting around them. A deep, resonant rumble echoes from a massive structure, signaling an abrupt shift in reality. Suddenly, Hyun-Woo Kim is violently thrown into a scene of utter pandemonium, his body plummeting amidst the chaotic struggle of falling figures and monstrous forms. The air fills with desperate cries as he continues his uncontrolled descent, the terrifying reality of his new surroundings crashing down around him. Meanwhile, a news helicopter hovers over a city in crisis, broadcasting urgent reports of a rapidly deteriorating situation. The broadcast confirms the airport's closure due to the emergency, with hunters being dispatched immediately, yet monsters continue to pour from a gaping crevasse. The grim update paints a picture of a city overwhelmed, as the relentless tide of creatures shows no sign of abating. On the streets below, a desperate battle rages, as humans fight for survival against the monstrous invaders, the situation growing steadily worse. A grotesque claw lashes out, a stark reminder of the brutal threat facing the city. From above, the full scale of the disaster becomes horrifyingly clear, a massive crevasse spewing forth creatures into a city engulfed in flames and chaos. He barely has a moment to register his surroundings before a monstrous goblin lunges, its crude blade flashing in the dim light. From the shadows, a chorus of guttural roars erupts, revealing an entire horde of goblins and a towering ogre, all closing in. Before he can react, a powerful blow sends him sprawling, his body slamming against the unforgiving ground. Stunned, he looks up, the sheer number of enemies overwhelming him. A goblin seizes him, pinning him down, as a chilling internal warning echoes in his mind. Don't get interrupted. You stupid. If you get interrupted, you'll be finished. Another goblin raises its weapon for a killing blow, but just as it descends, a new skill activates, multi-layered. A blinding burst of purple energy erupts from him, shattering the goblin's attack and sending it reeling. He rises, now wreathed in a vibrant green aura, unleashing a powerful sweeping strike. The green energy slices through the air, a clear declaration of his intent to fight back. He finds himself facing a monstrous figure, who greets him with a mocking tone, urging him to stand up quickly. A wave of frustration washes over him as he realizes the overwhelming odds. The sheer number of enemies causing his anger to boil over. He acknowledges the impossible odds, wondering aloud when reinforcements might finally arrive. Surrounded by the encroaching horde, he feels the situation spiraling out of control. Despite the chaos, he unleashes a burst of purple and green energy, pushing back against the relentless assault. His resolve hardens, vowing to protect the city and the guild, no matter the cost. The monsters continue to pour from a massive crevasse that is torn open in the city, a gaping wound in the urban landscape. With a guttural cry, he steels himself, knowing he must take decisive action. As the ground trembles violently, a massive, ominous presence begins to emerge, eliciting cries of "What?" from the onlookers. A gigantic, skeletal hand, glowing with a malevolent red light, claws its way free, prompting further horrified exclamations of "What? What is that?" The full, towering form of the skeletal monster reveals itself, its crimson bones radiating dark energy as it looms over the city, leaving Hyeon Kim and the other fighters stunned, barely able to process the sight of a giant skeleton, as they question, "What?" He stares up at the monstrous entity, a grim realization dawning on him as he wonders. Such a high level. What do we do? The colossal skeleton wastes no time, raising its massive, bone-like club high into the air, preparing to strike. A blonde-haired fighter, his face contorted in a desperate shout, screams, "Avoid it! Everyone avoid it!" Despite the warning, the monster's club crashes down with immense force, sending debris flying and eliciting a collective cry of, from the overwhelmed group. The blonde fighter watches the devastation, his expression hardening with grim resolve, ready to face the impossible. A malevolent red glow pulsed from the darkness. As Hyeon Kim cried out in pain, the force of the unseen attack tearing a grunt from his throat. Another swift, brutal impact followed, leaving him gasping for breath, his face contorted in agony. A massive, skeletal claw then slammed down, its red energy radiating outward. The colossal foe's bony hand gripped a heavy weapon, ready to deliver another crushing blow. The young man, battered and desperate, cried out, urging someone to endure and rise. But the relentless assault continued, knocking him violently to the ground, a pained gasp escaping him. The ground itself shuddered from the impact, cracking under the monster's immense power. He stands alone in a vast, cavernous space, a bright, ethereal exit shimmering before him, a voice echoing in his mind, announcing the arrival of the exit on the opposite side. As he steps through the shimmering portal, a man with short, messy brown hair and keen green eyes watches with a focused intensity, his gaze fixed on the unfolding event. The advanced player's feet, clad in simple slides, touch down on solid ground. As two other figures, a man and a woman, observe his arrival, the man noting the distinctive black training suit he wears. The woman gasps in disbelief, while the man confirms his identity, realizing he is the one who emerged from the gate. They identify him as an advanced player, the very one who just stepped through the portal. Suddenly, a violent impact sends the observing man reeling backward, a sharp cry escaping his lips as he is thrown through the air. He continues to fall through a chaotic burst of red and yellow energy, his body tumbling helplessly. Standing alone in a vast, smoky cavern, a system message flashes, announcing the arrival of the exit on the opposite side. A soft hum fills the air as the system confirms his relocation, informing him he has successfully moved to the deep place of the abyss, specifically Bingo Airport, with a left time of 2 minutes and 2 seconds. His brow furrows in confusion, muttering, "The airport?" He quickly turns his head, his gaze sharp as he senses a presence. 3 figures observe him from a distance, one of them remarking with awe, "He slaughtered that skeleton in one go." Indeed, the hunter stands amidst the remnants of his foes, his expression resolute as shattered skeletal remains litter the ground around him. He stands amidst the swirling dust and debris, a lone figure in the vast, rocky expanse, a voice in his mind challenging his confidence in others. A confident smirk plays on his lips, a silent acknowledgement of the challenge before him. He unleashes a devastating burst of fiery energy, engulfing unseen foes in a roaring inferno, leaving them to exclaim in disbelief. As the flames subside, he decides to take matters into his own hands, wondering if he should pursue them further. With a powerful grunt, he brings down a massive wooden club, the impact echoing through the cavern. Meanwhile, an observer, a bald man, watches the unfolding events with a look of deep concern, muttering about the unprecedented nature of the situation. A glowing blade flashes through the air, the bald man's eyes widening in shock at the spectacle. The blade continues its swift, deadly movement. He moves with blinding speed, a blur of motion as he coils his body for another devastating strike, launching himself into the air to deliver a powerful mid-air kick. The impact sends a shockwave through his target, eliciting a guttural cry of "You monster" from the creature. A brilliant burst of blue energy erupts from the point of contact, shattering the air around them. Without a moment's pause, he follows up with a glowing fist, his body wreathed in the same vibrant blue aura. The punch connects with devastating force, releasing an even larger explosion of crackling blue energy. The monster's face contorts in agony, its eyes glowing red as the magical impact ripples through its form. A pained shriek tears from its throat, echoing through the dark space. The force of the assault sends the creature reeling, its massive form thrown violently backward. Amidst the chaos, a group of individuals struggles to hold their ground, one of them desperately calling out for support. Then, a voice filled with relief whispers, acknowledging the arrival of their master. A subtle smirk plays on Hyun-Woo Kim's lips as another voice declares with absolute certainty that with his presence, the battle is already won. His expression firm, Hyun-Woo Kim asserts that hope remains, commanding everyone to gather around him immediately. Without hesitation, he moves swiftly through the fiery, smoke-filled environment, briefly glancing back to instruct them to handle the rest on their own. His departure is as swift as his arrival, leaving the scene behind him. The remaining individuals are left to process his sudden exit, one confirming that he has already departed. As a brilliant green light flares and then fades, one of the hunters, wielding a glowing blade, pushes back against the monstrous tide, acknowledging the overwhelming odds. It can't be helped. We must hold our ground somehow while handling the rest, he calls out, his voice firm. A moment later, he looks up, a flicker of disbelief crossing his face. What? He left without even saying anything. After staying for a bit. The chaotic battle rages on, with multiple hunters clashing against the grotesque, hulking creatures, fire and dust erupting around them. He sighs, the weight of the situation pressing down. Even if they're low-rank monsters, he mutters, then his expression hardens. There's no way we can leave him. That's a monster. The sheer number of monsters proves too much. As another hunter is violently thrown through the air, the number of monsters that appeared was greater than expected. But the first hunter's jaw clenches in grim determination. If we collapse here, even the director will be in danger, too. That's why we must buy him just a bit more time. Just a bit more, he vows, ready to face the onslaught. A monstrous creature, its eyes glowing with malevolent red light, clamps down on one of the human subordinates, who screams in terror. But before the monster can inflict further harm, an armored hand moves with a clatter and a slide. As a determined voice declares, single sword. The monster roars in pain as it takes a devastating blow, impact lines radiating from the point of contact. Hyun-Woo Kim watches the sudden turn of events, a gasp of surprise escaping him. Meanwhile, another figure, recognizing a new presence, exclaims in disbelief. Heavy armored boots clank against the ground, announcing a powerful arrival. The newcomer, identified as Sehyun Kim of the Soul Guild, makes his presence known. Fully armored and wielding a formidable weapon, Sehyun Kim states, "It seems I'm not too late." Just as the battle seemed to reach its breaking point, a new force materialized, heralded by the arrival of the Soul Guild. A young ally, his eyes wide with relief, could barely believe the support had finally arrived. Before anyone could fully process their presence, a surge of raw power erupted, blue lightning crackling with fierce intensity. The electrical discharge intensified, pulsing with destructive energy. Then, a figure moved with impossible speed, a blur of motion wreathed in brilliant blue light. Monsters were instantly repelled, violently thrown backward by an unseen force. A hand emerged from the chaos, clutching a glowing blue orb, as a voice challenged the notion of being not late. Seoyeon, the leader of the Soul Guild, stood resolute amidst the defeated creatures, her glowing orb illuminating the grim reality of the situation. From a distance, Hyun-Woo Kim recognized her, realizing it was Seoyeon from the Soul Guild, accompanied by the Urung Guild. Hyun-Woo Kim watches from above, a thought of relief crossing his mind as a nearby guard points, confirming the arrival of the Soul Guild. Meanwhile, a heavily armored man below shouts out the name, Seo Kwan-han. This is Seo Kwan-han, a formidable warrior from the invited guild, a name that carries significant weight. Hyun-Woo Kim, still observing, feels a wave of relief wash over him, knowing they are finally saved. Seo Kwan-han, however, quickly shifts from relief to concern, realizing that while they might be saved, Hyun-Woo Kim is in a hurry, and something else must be done first. Seoyeon, now composed, questions her surroundings, wondering aloud where she is. Sehyun Kim, standing beside her, explains that if Master Hyun-Woo Kim is the nucleus of the crevasse, then something significant is about to unfold. Seoyeon, with a knowing smile, acknowledges that he is indeed in a hurry, her gaze fixed on the unfolding situation. A glowing, Intricate portal hums with energy, suggesting a new path or objective. An armored figure, leading a contingent of soldiers, calls out to his comrades, asking if they should advance as well. His armored leg steps forward. As the leader's face contorts in a fierce yell, commanding acceleration to his unit. With a guttural cry, a glowing blue projectile launches forward, leaving a trail of energy in its wake. His face remains locked in a mask of intense focus, eyes wide with determination. Moments later, the projectile strikes its target with a heavy, muffled impact. The blue projectile from the armored leader's earlier assault detonates with immense force, tearing through the environment. Its explosive energy continuing to expand outward, leaving a trail of destruction. Amidst the chaos, the armored leader stands firm, his sword drawn and glowing faintly red, observing the impact with an unwavering gaze. Nearby, Hyun-Yu Kim watches the unfolding events, his expression etched with grim determination. Without hesitation, the armored leader unleashes a devastating, fiery slash with his sword, sending a massive arc of energy hurtling forward. But before the attack can connect, multiple glowing blue energy spheres manifest, intercepting the fiery assault. A female mage, her eyes glowing with electric blue energy, channels her power, calling out Thunderbolt as she unleashes a torrent of crackling blue spheres. The powerful blue energy strikes the armored leader, engulfing him in a blinding flash. The impact leaves streaks of residual energy, a testament to the raw power unleashed. A massive, grotesque red monster lies defeated, its form still radiating a faint, ominous heat. Meanwhile, a voice from an unseen location wonders if the others are managing the situation well outside. Hyun-Yu Kim, observing the aftermath, considers his options, thinking, first. As glowing particles drift through the dark space, he concludes that he will have to descend further into the depths. Scanning the treacherous cliff face, he spots a glimmer of possibility, knowing there must be some way to navigate this terrain. A thoughtful escapes him as he processes the unexpected discovery. He turns his head, first to the left, then to the right, assessing the immediate surroundings with a keen eye. His gaze finally settles downwards, a soft "oh" indicating a new realization. Below, a car lies precariously balanced on the cliff edge, prompting him to wonder if he should utilize it. Hyun-Yu Kim settles into the driver's seat of the precariously balanced car, his gaze fixed on the path ahead. A faint smirk plays on his lips as he places a hand on the door, a decision made. With a powerful shove, he sends the vehicle tumbling over the edge, his foot providing the final, decisive push. Then, without hesitation, he plunges into the abyss himself, a fleeting thought crossing his mind. Should I clean it up? The world blurs around him as he accelerates downward, a cascade of particles trailing in his wake. He crashes through a shimmering barrier of brilliant blue energy, the impact momentarily distorting his form. Continuing his descent into a dark, swirling mist, he braces for whatever lies beneath. Still plummeting through the abyss, Hyun-Yu Kim lets out a desperate cry, as two grotesque goblins, one larger than the other, look up in startled confusion from below. With a fierce snarl, he unleashes a furious attack, shouting for them to get lost. Delivering a powerful, electrically charged kick directly to the larger goblin's head. He follows through, sending the smaller creature flying with another swift strike. But the momentum of his fall continues, pulling him deeper into the void with a prolonged scream. A pained grunt escapes him, and he glances downward, wondering if the ground is finally close. His foot dangles in the empty air, still descending. Still plummeting through the dark abyss, he continues his uncontrolled descent. The air rushing past him with a steady hum, a constant reminder of the immense distance he has yet to cover. Each moment stretches into an eternity, until a thought finally breaks through the monotony of his descent. There are still 3 degrees of fall remaining. Then, with a sudden jolt, he lands, the impact absorbed by his enhanced body, and he wonders if this is finally the bottom of the cave. A low, guttural growl echoes through the cavern, making the air crackle with an unseen presence. From the shadows, a towering, crimson-scaled figure emerges, its muscular form radiating raw power as it lets out a menacing roar. Its eyes glow with malevolent intent, revealing it to be a formidable lizardman warrior, level 80. A small, ornate key dangles from a chain, its metallic glint catching the dim light of the chasm. Hyun-Yu Kim's eyes narrow, a determined smirk playing on his lips as he declares his intent to claim a prize. He plunges downward, a confident declaration echoing through the air. His expression shifts, a flicker of surprise crossing his features. The massive jaws of the lizardman warrior snap shut, its predatory gaze fixed on him. Before he can react, the creature lunges, enveloping him in a cloud of dark energy. A sickening crunch echoes through the cavern. Hyun-Yu Kim is sent flying, crashing hard onto the ground with a pained grunt. He struggles to catch his breath, a dawning realization of the monster's speed and power washing over him. Hyun-Yu Kim is sent hurtling through the air, a sudden rush of force knocking him off balance, leaving him stunned as he realizes he's been utterly countered. Before he can recover, the lizardman warrior closes in, delivering a brutal blow that sends a jolt of pain through him, his body screaming in protest. The monster presses its advantage, rushing forward with relentless speed, not allowing him a moment's respite. Another heavy impact rattles his bones, the force of the blow echoing through the cavern. But just as despair threatens to set in, Haiyan unleashes a blinding counterattack, a brilliant burst of energy erupting from his form. The recoil, or perhaps another unseen strike, sends him tumbling once more, falling helplessly through the dark expanse. As the lizardman warrior's claw lashes out with a harsh, tearing sound, the monstrous creature lets out a guttural roar, its entire body surging forward in a relentless assault. Haiyan Kim, facing the onslaught, finds himself with no time for games. A glowing red fist connects with devastating force, sending him reeling back, the impact feeling like utter nonsense. He is thrown through the air, a faint purple energy rippling around him as he recoils. The sheer power of the blow leaves him stunned, a single thought echoing in his mind. Right? Such AK. Still falling rapidly through the dark space, he braces himself. Despite the pain, his eyes begin to glow with a faint purple light, a surge of determination overriding his discomfort. From his falling form, a powerful burst of purple energy erupts, blasting outward with intense force. The purple energy, unleashed by Haiyan, surges forward, striking the lizardman warrior with immense force. The creature lets out a pained cry as it's thrown backward, leaving Haiyan to curse under his breath. The lizardman warrior, still reeling from the blow, realizes the young man is far stronger than he initially believed, despite his seemingly limited mana. A frustrated groan escapes Haiyan. As he clutches his arm, the strain of the attack evident. He wonders if he must truly unleash his full power and go all out. While the monster stares back, its face now showing clear signs of damage and surprise. His expression resolute, Haiyan declares the fight over. The lizardman warrior, still wreathed in lingering purple energy, looks utterly bewildered. Meanwhile, a faint shimmer of light accompanies his descent. He looks up, a strange mix of determination and resignation on his face. Haiyan plummets through the air, a blur against the dark backdrop. As he falls, a thought crosses his mind. Is that a way to live your life? The towering, ancient structure looms in the distance, a silent witness to his struggle, as he realizes that in overcoming fear, they had been looking in the wrong place all along. He lands heavily, lying still amidst the debris. His eyes remain closed, a final, profound realization settling upon him. If one cannot see the exit, then they could not have truly overcome the fear of the unknown. Still plummeting, Haiyan's breath hitches, his gaze fixed upwards. He questions the path forward, even as the ground rushes closer. A sudden, almost manic laugh escapes him, a strange defiance in his expression. I can go up, he declares, remembering the paralyzing fear he once felt. Purple energy flares around him as he prepares to strike, a grim realization echoing in his mind. He would have perished if he hadn't risen to the challenge. The thought fuels his assault, his fist blurring through the air. His fist glows with a fierce red light, channeling raw power into a downward trajectory. A relentless barrage of blows follows, each one infused with the same desperate resolve. The final, devastating killing punch connects, sending shockwaves through the surprised lizardman warrior. As he plummets through the air, a sense of profound disappointment washes over him, reflecting on how everything had gone wrong. Yet, even in freefall, a primal cry escapes his lips, a surge of raw power beginning to coalesce around him. His fist ignites with a vibrant, purple-red glow, channeling a secret, devastating killing blow aimed directly at his monstrous foe. His eyes blaze with an intense, focused energy, his resolve hardening with every passing moment. The lizardman warrior, caught off guard, can only register a surprised gasp as the powerful blow connects, sending shockwaves through its reptilian form. Reeling from the impact, the creature recoils, unable to comprehend the sudden, overwhelming force. A guttural scream of agony tears from its throat as the full force of the attack takes hold. Standing firm, his hands still glowing with residual energy, Haiyan wonders about the true extent of this newfound power. He stands before the cavern's exit, a bright opening beckoning from the opposite side. With a surge of renewed determination, Haiyan Kim raises his arm, preparing to unleash another devastating blow. Meanwhile, the lizardman warrior lets out a guttural, pained scream, its face contorted in agony. Closing the distance in a blur of motion, he moves with incredible speed. His right fist, glowing with fierce purple energy, smashes into the monster's face, scales cracking under the impact. The lizardman warrior screams again, its face further marred by the devastating blow. Without pause, Haiyan Kim follows up with a second, equally potent strike, his left fist slamming into the monster's chest, sending a shockwave through its body. A faint purple aura surrounds him as he stands resolute, a system message confirming his power, strength, has increased. The combined force of the blows sends the lizardman warrior reeling, its body violently thrown backward. A sudden, disorienting blur of motion engulfs the surroundings, as a figure plummets through the air with incredible speed, kicking up clouds of dust and debris in their wake, before finally coming to a jarring halt. A slight smirk plays on his lips as he acknowledges his own embarrassing habit of talking to himself. Standing amidst the desolate, rocky landscape, a place he wishes to keep as a dark, forgotten memory. The metallic jingle of keys echoes in the desolate space. As a system message flashes, declaring a critical error and a forced transfer, leaving him sprawled on the ground. The system continues to bombard him with information, detailing the dungeon break and the appearance of a lizardman warrior, a creature whose mana far exceeds his current rank. Hyun-Yu Kim, his expression grim, realizes he won't find easy answers here. Another system alert overlays the desolate landscape. And he looks up, a question forming on his lips. The system confirms his fears, announcing the arrival of the exit on the opposite side, just as a towering, red-eyed lizardman warrior emerges from the shadows. He stares at the monstrous figure, a single thought echoing in his mind. Suddenly, the scene shifts to a formal conference room, where Hyun-Yu Kim stands in a sharp suit, his expression thoughtful. In a stark, formal room, a stern-faced man in a dark suit stands beside a woman with short, purple-tinged hair, both observing something unseen. The man's brow furrows, a hint of disbelief in his voice as he questions, and this isn't A rank. The woman, however, offers a more nuanced perspective, explaining that while the ability stats don't align with the analyzed information she's seen, there's more to it. The official measurements from the Hunter Association detail Hyun-Yu Kim's profile, listing him as a 24-year-old male, 183 centimeters tall, weighing 83 kilograms, with his ability stats clearly laid out. A hand gestures towards the document, a voice questioning if the other person doesn't recognize him after seeing the video. The stern man reiterates his doubt, asking if the boy's abilities truly appear to be A rank. The woman hesitates, her expression troubled, unable to fully articulate her thoughts. He slams his hand down on the table, emphasizing that Hyun-Yu Kim was only wearing a training suit, without any special items or magical enhancements. A pair of eyes widen, reflecting the sheer, overwhelming power they've witnessed. A man in a dark suit, his expression serious, inquires if all the necessary data has been collected. He confirms, having gathered everything possible for the moment. With a slight smile, he instructs them to prepare it meticulously. The man then adds that it should be released immediately once ready. The following day, the scene shifts to the imposing Korean Hunter Association branch office. Inside, a flurry of camera flashes erupts, capturing a moment of public recognition. A banner proclaims a Hunter Association appreciation ceremony, honoring service for stabilizing a gate situation. As an award is presented, a woman in the crowd murmurs with a hint of envy. Meanwhile, a hand trembles slightly, holding a phone displaying the word amazing. He throws his hands up, a wide grin splitting his face as an overwhelming sense of joy washes over him. Still fixated on his phone, he marvels at the sheer number of viewers on the live stream. The scene shifts to a formal event, where the spirit of an A-rank newcomer is being celebrated. An older man in a dark suit stands beside Hyun-Yu Kim, speaking, while a thought echoes, questioning if it's skill or merely rank being discussed. The older man's brow furrows, his expression shifting from stern to thoughtful. Hyun-Yu Kim stands tall, his gaze steady and composed. The older man turns to Hyun-Yu Kim and a woman in a dark suit, remarking that he'll have to buy new clothes for the newly recognized hunter. Hyun-Yu Kim's eyes widen slightly, a hint of surprise or contemplation on his face. As the gray-haired official attempts to engage him, his voice carrying a hint of polite insistence, Hyun-Yu Kim simply looks down, a subtle what, escaping his lips as if already distracted. A frustrated sigh escapes the official, who mutters, "Such a rude." Unaware or uncaring of the official's growing irritation, Hyun-Yu Kim holds a bouquet of flowers and a phone to his ear, asking if he can finally leave. Before the official can even process the question, Hyun-Yu Kim is already in motion, sprinting away, leaving the man to exclaim, "What?" He glances back briefly, a faint click echoing as he continues his swift departure, leaving the official bewildered in his wake. The official's face contorts in pure rage, his thoughts screaming, "Where does such a bastard exist?" Later, conversing with two colleagues, the official sighs, "Oh my, Hyun-Yu caused trouble again." As the sun dips below the horizon, casting a warm glow over a distant, traditional building, the world outside the bustling event continues its quiet rhythm. An immense, almost suffocating pressure emanates from a figure in a dark suit, standing amidst swirling dust. A young woman with long dark hair and striking red eyes observes intently, a faint sound of movement accompanying her gaze. She watches as the man in the suit executes a powerful, dynamic stance, the air around him shimmering with residual energy. The demonstrator holds the precise, formidable posture, his form radiating an undeniable power. The red-eyed woman's eyes widen, her expression a mix of awe and shock. The demonstrator recoils sharply, a sudden, violent jolt passing through him as if struck by an unseen force. The young woman points, her voice filled with a mix of recognition and disbelief, as the powerful impact reverberates. Later, sitting with an older official, she ponders aloud, "What is his name again?" The official, listening intently, recalls, "He's the hunter who recently." Her red eyes still wide with wonder, she finally utters, "Kim." She considers the implications, a soft rustle accompanying her words, "If you say investigate." Her gaze remains fixed on the screen, the silent command echoing in her mind, "Find something out. Let nothing out. From the past to now, every achievement." Meanwhile, Hyun-Yu Kim accepts a bouquet of flowers and a small gift, offering a polite, "Again, thank you for the nice comments." A woman with striking red eyes intently watches a screen where a report details the activities of Hyun-Yu Kim, demanding a comprehensive investigation into his past and present. Her gaze remains fixed, absorbing the information without a word. A slight frown touches her lips as she questions a particular detail. The report continues, confirming the successful acquisition of all major guilds within the southern region. She listens to the next piece of information, a conflict with the Free Guild during the process. Her expression remains unreadable as the details unfold. Finally, a hint of concern crosses her features, acknowledging the potential trouble. Her fingers clench almost imperceptibly, a silent reaction to the unfolding events. A guttural cry echoes through a smoky, cavernous space as Hyun-Yu Kim looks down at his father, who, with a long, dark tail, pleads from below, "You can't fool me, Dad." His father responds, "For the sake of my family, I'll do anything," prompting Hyun-Yu Kim to declare, "If it's for my promise." The younger man acknowledges, "That much," as his father simply states, "For." The scene shifts to a news report, detailing INS news about the advanced player who left the tower after 12 years. A story Hyun-Yu Kim and his purple-haired friend are watching, the friend laughing at the absurdity. "It isn't something you can say while laughing." Hyun-Yu Kim, looking surprised, questions, "Wrong." The news continues to scroll, reiterating the headline about the advanced player who escaped from the tower after 12 years. With a final thought appearing on screen, "I don't have a choice but to get a job." 12 years ago, a young woman with striking red eyes declared her indifference to the mountain, despite the group gathered around her. Two men listened, one with a thoughtful gaze, the other with a slight smirk. Hyun-Yu Kim shrugged, dismissing their concerns, believing he wouldn't have to see those people anyway. The young woman offered her unwavering support, promising to do whatever he wished, as the others called out his name in concern. With a quiet, "Ah," Hyun-Yu Kim rose quickly from his seat, announcing he would be stepping out for a bit. His purple-haired friend questioned his sudden departure, to which Hyun-Yu Kim simply replied that he had a meeting. The red-eyed woman murmured about the meeting, while the rest of the group reacted with surprise, asking if she meant Hyunwoo. He confirmed it, leaving her with a jolt of concern about the nature of his business. His sister watches him with a worried expression, as Hyun-Yu Kim, standing tall, dismisses their concerns, stating that he always goes alone. His purple-haired friend, equally distressed, wonders aloud what on earth Hyun-Yu Kim could possibly be doing. Unfazed by their anxiety, Hyun-Yu Kim simply thinks to himself that since he's not a normal person who walks around thinking properly, he'll just have to go. A sudden, stark transition plunges the scene into darkness, before revealing a different Hyun-Yu Kim, now older and dressed in a sharp suit, standing alone in a desolate, narrow alleyway. Around him, a vibrant blue energy begins to coalesce, forming a shimmering portal as a system message confirms his arrival. He has reached the meeting point. Without hesitation, he steps forward, enveloped by the brilliant azure light, passing through the ethereal doorway. On the other side, a woman with long, flowing white hair greets him with a polite smile, welcoming Hyun-Woo Kim. She looks at him expectantly, her expression questioning, as if awaiting his response. A white-haired woman, her gaze distant, speaks of a past victory, mentioning the disposal of the Scarlet Devil Archer. Her words echo a memory, as a younger Hyun-Yu Kim receives a disheartening system message, informing him he has been assigned a low rank, the lowest possible within the state administration. He questions the assessment, wondering if he's being mocked. A pained grunt escapes him, his frustration mounting. He lashes out at the shadowy figure of System Nim, demanding to know what kind of teaching method this is. His eyes glow a fierce red as a crimson aura erupts around him, declaring that there is no difference between mercenaries and hunters, his power surging with a guttural cry. Back in the present, the white-haired woman holds a tablet, confirming the report and acknowledging his new status as an official guardian. She continues, her expression serious, ready to earnestly discuss the tasks awaiting him. She asks if he is prepared to accept the mission, and the older, formally dressed Hyun-Yu Kim responds with a firm yes. The white-haired woman continues, explaining that the tower is a place where people climb, and that those who clear the tutorial tower are the ones she is referring to, clarifying that they are the ones who climb the tower. Hyun-Yu Kim, recalling his own past, muses that he has been in the tower for a long time now, and this is the first time he has heard of a tower climber. The woman then corrects him, stating that she is not talking about the tutorial tower he is speaking of. Instead, she emphasizes she is talking about the tower. Hyun-Yu Kim looks on, confused, wondering what she could possibly mean. With a knowing expression, the woman states that she will say it again. This place that Hyun-Yu Kim knows so well is called the Earth. Hyun-Yu Kim's expression shifts to one of profound realization and shock. A woman with silver hair, her gaze sharp and direct, reiterates her point, saying, "I'll say it again." Meanwhile, another woman with striking red eyes and dark, wavy hair adds, "The place Hyun-Yu Kim is protecting currently is the 9th floor out on the Earth." The vast, illuminated cityscape of Earth stretches beneath a brilliant full moon, a silent testament to the world he strives to safeguard. His eyes wide with a mix of surprise and concern, Hyun-Yu Kim takes in the implications of the revelation. He ponders the situation, his thoughts turning inward. The ninth floor. I thought it was just a training ground. His expression shifts from contemplation to a determined resolve as he continues. But if it's on Earth, then I have to protect it. Hyun-Yu Kim clutches his head, overwhelmed by the escalating complexity of his mission, wondering why the tasks he faces seem to constantly increase. Nevertheless, the white-haired woman warns him that if he fails to stop the encroaching demons, the ninth floor will inevitably be destroyed. She looks at him with a serious gaze, explaining that if that happens, he, and the very life he lives, will simply vanish. Cutting her off with a sudden surge of determination, Hyun-Yu Kim declares that he will simply shut up and do what needs to be done. He then turns his gaze directly to her, his expression hardening as he asks if that is truly what she is saying. His abrupt shift in demeanor leaves her momentarily stunned, uttering a confused "huh?" Still processing his words, she remains in a state of bewildered confusion, her hand rising slightly in a gesture of disbelief. Hyun-Yu Kim's form darkens, his eyes glowing with an intense purple light as he declares, "If you want me to do something, so be it," before demanding to know what reward he will receive for his efforts. The white-haired woman looks on, her expression thoughtful and concerned, as she processes his unexpected demand. The white-haired woman trembles slightly, observing Hyun-Yu Kim with a hint of surprise, as she admits she's never seen him so excited. His own eyes now glowing with a vibrant purple light, Hyun-Yu Kim's expression hardens with a determined resolve. Confused by his sudden shift in demeanor, the woman questions his meaning, only for him to clarify that he's referring to a reward. He explains it's for the assistance he's providing, leaving the white-haired woman to ponder his unexpected request for compensation. She notes his blatant greed, but Hyun-Yu Kim simply states he won't work for free. Turning to face her directly, he poses a question. He inquires about the rank of the individual responsible for the rift and the gate, the one who caused all this trouble. The white-haired woman responds with a serious expression, informing him that such information requires the highest status authority rank. Hyun-Yu Kim simply affirms her statement, prompting her to ask how many individuals he intends to apprehend. He listens as the white-haired woman explains that the information is difficult to share, prompting him to ask why. She gestures, illustrating the hierarchical structure of their world, where climbers are divided into distinct ranks, and the individual in question is likely of a lower tier. Hyun-Yu Kim considers the implications, noting that a higher rank would present a greater challenge, then asks how one would even confirm if such a person had been apprehended. He ponders the difficulty, perhaps imagining a formidable foe like the Scarlet Devil Orker. The white-haired woman confirms that the individual in question is indeed a low-rank climber, making their apprehension more likely. He remains silent for a moment, absorbing the details, before finally acknowledging that he has a rough understanding. Outside, the city lights twinkle against the night sky, a silent witness to their clandestine discussion. Hyun-Yu Kim sits in a grand library, surrounded by towering bookshelves, deep in thought. Suddenly, a sharp sound cuts through the silence. He processes the implications, realizing the information he had gathered about the tower might be entirely wrong. A wave of disbelief washes over him, the thought that his intelligence could be flawed almost unbearable. He stares at the television screen, where a news report flashes a headline about a shocking situation, one that threatens public trust in hunters, specifically mentioning a hunter Hyun-Woo Kim, who murdered an A-rank guild member. A scoff escapes him as he mutters, "What bullshit is that?" The news anchors continue, confirming the murder of an A-rank guild member by hunter Hyun-Woo Kim, though more details remain unknown. A knowing smirk spreads across his face, his gaze fixed on the screen as he remarks, "Look at these guys." The scene shifts to Mokdong, specifically to Sukwon's house, a modern, two-story residence. Inside, a phone vibrates persistently on a polished surface, disturbing the quiet as Hyun-Yu Kim lies sprawled on a couch, seemingly asleep. His sister, looking exasperated, demands to know what's constantly growing. Her expression is one of deep concern. She continues, pointing out his incredible growth rate since returning from the ranking battle, her voice rising in alarm as she declares it's practically murder. Hyun-Yu Kim, still lounging, calmly replies that he's been having serious sleep problems lately, while his sister, still agitated, asks why he's so worried. A crimson aura flares around Hyun-Yu Kim, his eyes burning with an intense light as he confronts unseen enemies, demanding to know if they truly believe he cares nothing for them, or if they mistake him for an adversary. A soft humph escapes him as the vision fades, leaving him with a profound sense of weariness. He feels as though he's on the brink of death, constantly needing to fight, yet he is no fighter. Lying on the couch, exhausted, he asks his sister if his condition truly worries her that much. His sister, looking deeply concerned, retorts that it's only natural for her to be worried. He simply hums in response, a dismissive sound escaping him. Then, with a sudden shift in expression, he asks her if she likes him. Her eyes widen in shock, her face flushing with surprise at the unexpected question. His sister's expression shifts from concern to utter bewilderment, her eyes widening as the implication of his words settles in. A faint blue aura begins to emanate from her as she struggles to comprehend, asking him what he could possibly be talking about. The blue energy intensifies around her hands as her shock deepens, her voice rising in disbelief as she questions his seriousness. Turning his head away, Hyun-Yu Kim offers a hesitant, almost sheepish confirmation, while his sister reflects that despite his status as her older brother, he has always possessed this peculiar nature. As he begins to walk away, leaving her standing there in her confusion, she softly calls out his name, a lingering question in her tone. Later, Hyun-Yu Kim stands beside another man, both looking at a phone displaying real-time searching rankings, where Hyun-Yu Kim has once again secured the top spot, prompting the man to comment on his repeated success in reaching first place. Hyun-Yu Kim, seated, assures his companion that he will arrange everything, as the other man reports on Thunder Dispatch, a 3-star guild master, and their ranking. The report continues, detailing how another guild within the Red Guild was hit by Thunder Dispatch, resulting in significant damage and numerous hunters being crushed. With a determined expression, he confirms that he will personally take care of the situation. Standing now, with a glowing, ethereal object between them, Hyun-Yu Kim seeks confirmation from his companion, who then remarks on his exceptional capabilities. The companion, looking surprised, questions his seriousness. But Hyun-Yu Kim's confident gaze leaves no room for doubt, as he asserts his unwavering resolve. He then inquires if all his requested items have been gathered, prompting the companion to ask how he intends to execute his plan. With a slight tilt of his head, Hyun-Yu Kim responds with a rhetorical question, implying that he would never gather resources without thorough preparation. Later, standing beside his sister, he delivers a final, impactful message. Without a plan, one is doomed, and disaster should never be part of the strategy. A boisterous laugh echoes, filling the space with an almost mocking tone. As Hyun-Yu Kim looks on, the unseen speaker continues, demanding to know what the hell do you guys think of me? He sits calmly with his sister and their companion, who lets out another chuckle, as the conversation continues. Meanwhile, the city hums with activity around a towering skyscraper, unaware of the machinations unfolding within its walls. A hand taps rhythmically on a table, confirming that it's progressing smoothly as expected. Hyun-Yu Kim's expression remains confident as he explains how they gathered as soon as we released the information from our side, and a phone screen displays the unfolding events. Yesterday, Agent Thunder Dispatch was caught on the scene, and in addition, a new guild will be held. The message concludes, reiterating that this has progressed with the plan as expected. A satisfied smirk plays on his lips, his eyes closed in quiet triumph. His companion, now in a sharp suit, can only stare in disbelief, wondering how's that even possible. He considers the upcoming Ares Guild meeting, scheduled for 10 in the morning, knowing that preparing for it is the crucial first step. A quiet talk echoes in his mind, as he remains deep in thought. Another soft talk confirms his resolve, his gaze fixed downward. A confident smirk plays on his lips, knowing it's far too late for anyone to escape his influence now. He strides forward. His eyes gleam with unwavering determination, certain he can undoubtedly beat them all. As he checks his phone, a news report confirms the widespread impact of his actions. Hyun-Yu Kim, the head of Ares Guild, has scheduled a meeting for 10 a.m. to address the recent incident involving the capture of Agent Thunder Dispatch and the subsequent leak of sensitive information. The article suggests his moves are a bold attempt to consolidate power amidst growing internal discontent, exactly as he planned. While Hyun-Yu Kim remains confident that he is the only one who can truly overcome himself, a stern-faced man in a suit vows that Hyun-Yu Kim will pay dearly for his schemes. A hand rests on a polished table, a single word escaping his lips. Good. Hyun-Yu Kim's lips curl into a subtle smirk, a silent warning echoing in his mind. Meanwhile, the stage is set for a public address, as the empty press conference room awaits its occupants. Soon, Hyun-Yu Kim stands at the podium, facing a barrage of questions, one reporter immediately pressing him. Is the information that's circulating true, Mr. Hyun-Yu Kim? He listens intently, a slight frown creasing his brow, as the reporter continues, asking about the Thunder Dispatch incident. Hyun-Yu Kim leans into the microphone, his voice calm and measured, asking for clarification on the specific information being referenced. He watches the reporters, his expression unreadable, as they murmur amongst themselves. Then, with a decisive tone, he begins his response, declaring, first. He asserts that while he doesn't have to answer, he will do so on his own terms, addressing the Thunder Dispatch incident directly. A reporter, undeterred, immediately follows up, asking about his position as the head Guild Korean Director of Personnel. Hyun-Yu Kim, facing the assembled press, answers a question with a confident, almost dismissive tone. His words send a shockwave through the room, causing one man to recoil in disbelief, his eyes wide with a sudden realization. Meanwhile, a phone screen flashes with mocking laughter, reflecting the public's amusement at the unfolding drama. Back at the podium, the clamor of reporters grows louder, as one voice cuts through the din, demanding answers. A reporter directly challenges Hyun-Yu Kim, asking if it's true he intends to dismiss the Yugun Guild. Unfazed, Hyun-Yu Kim simply offers a knowing smile, his composure unwavering despite the direct accusation. The rival man watches, stunned by his audacity, while Hyun-Yu Kim maintains his calm, almost arrogant expression. The rival and his female associate exchange worried glances, the murmurs of the crowd growing louder as the tension mounts. Hyun-Yu Kim then delivers his final, defiant statement, inviting judgment with an unwavering gaze. Hyun-Yu Kim's finger descends, pressing a button on his phone with a soft click. While elsewhere, two other subordinates exchange a look of utter bewilderment, unable to comprehend the unfolding situation. Back in the office, a subordinate confesses his confusion, admitting he doesn't understand the guildmaster's motives, but Hyun-Yu Kim simply states that he's already heard his reasons. A faint smirk plays on his lips, his expression unreadable. The subordinate tries to distance himself, claiming he can't easily get involved in such matters, but then the screen of Hyun-Yu Kim's phone illuminates, revealing a recording file. Hyun-Yu Kim's grip tightens on the device, a heavy chain visible around his wrist as he asks if such a thing could be easily obtained from the Ares Guild, then declares that the subordinate has now gone to understand. He leans in, grabbing the terrified subordinate by the collar, who can only stammer out a horrified realization. It's a recording file. Meanwhile, the rival man, his associate, and Hyun-Yu Kim's sister stand together, the rival man questioning if Hyun-Yu Kim truly threatened to send an assassin from the Ares Guild just moments ago, a clear sign of the ripple effect his public statements are having. He watches the screen, the words echoing through the room, a challenge to anyone who would question his authority, especially regarding the director of personnel. Across various channels, the news spreads like wildfire, reporters struggling to comprehend the audacity of the commission's latest move, wondering if this could truly be happening. The loud, echoing declaration about the director of personnel reverberates, striking a chord of disbelief and shock in those who hear it. A furious shout erupts, the rival man's face contorted in pure rage at the brazen challenge. His sister, too, lets out a cry of utter shock, the implications of the broadcast clearly hitting her hard. Yet, Hyun-Yu Kim remains perfectly composed, the source of the commotion resting calmly on the desk before him. The rival man and his associate murmur in disbelief, their anger palpable as the situation unfolds. He slams his hand down, demanding answers, his voice rising in a desperate plea to know how such a damning recording could have been made. Hyun-Yu Kim's hand reaches for the device, ready to reveal the full, undeniable truth to those who doubt his words. He begins, a slight smirk playing on his lips, finding the initial handling of the situation amusing, almost mocking. He continues, implying that Aints was hardly the only one who suffered. His rival and their associates react with disbelief, demanding to know if he truly believes he escaped any consequences. The young man challenges their assumption, his smirk unwavering. The rival presses further, asking about the director of personnel's denial and suggesting that a report was also forged. Hyun-Yu Kim listens, his expression unreadable, but hinting at deeper knowledge. With a knowing look, he begins to speak, as if about to reveal something significant. The rival group watches him intently, anticipating his next move, perhaps hoping for a misstep. He reaches for another file, implying that his reputation precedes him and that more revelations are imminent. A message flashes across a smartphone screen, a stark challenge. If you want more, it reads, the sudden notification eliciting a sharp gasp. Meanwhile, in a bustling office, a group of employees gathers around a monitor, murmuring amongst themselves, wondering aloud what new development could be unfolding. Among them, a rival man's face contorts in surprise and concern, a single word escaping his lips as he processes the implications. Without hesitation, he raises his phone to his ear, declaring that this is the very call he had been anticipating and needed to make. A voice on the other end of the line, filled with disbelief, declares that this is the phone of the hunter who came to kill him. Listening intently, Hyun-Yu Kim allows a slight smirk to play on his lips. Meanwhile, the man on the other end, his face pale with shock, struggles to comprehend the situation. He slumps over his desk, muttering that everything should have been handled by the police or a security company, as if trying to rationalize the impossible. Hyun-Yu Kim's smirk widens, admitting it took a while to convince him to look at the evidence. The phone screen displays a chilling image, a person, bound and helpless, with a message asking, "What are you going to do now?" The man on the other end is left speechless, the full implications of the image sinking in. Hyun-Yu Kim, still on the line, explains that he fought to survive. He types on his keyboard, continuing his explanation to rival man and his associate, that the assassin unfortunately ran into him, elaborating how the hunter encountered a dungeon's boss, and then died through an ambush. Rival man, visibly surprised, questions if Hyun-Yu Kim hadn't already claimed to have killed him earlier. Hyun-Yu Kim calmly replies that one could put it like that, since the hunter got caught fighting with him anyway. As he continues typing, he adds that it's something that could easily have happened. With a final series of clicks, he confirms he's sending more pictures to further prove his point. A thought echoes, expressing surprise that a situation could escalate so quickly into something troublesome. Meanwhile, Hyun-Yu Kim descends a set of outdoor stairs, his footsteps echoing softly, a casual really, escaping him as he continues his stride. He glances at his phone, a subtle smirk playing on his lips as he considers, "Did you think it would get out so early?" His confident footsteps continue to carry him forward, until he finds rival man hunched over his desk, clearly engrossed in something on his laptop, a palpable tension radiating from his posture. Rival man's face contorts with alarm as he mutters about the situation, recovering fast, and the catastrophic consequences if the world would spin around if this became public. Hyun-Yu Kim leans in, his voice a low, calculated murmur, reminding him of the powerful figures involved. It's the head guild director, Mr. Byun-Woo Kim, and top area hunter. Is there anything that the reporters will overlook? Rival man can only clench his fist, a frustrated sigh escaping him as he acknowledges. It's a mess, a complete mess. Rival man's face contorts in a grimace, a low groan escaping him as the weight of the situation presses down. He had only seen Hyun-Yu Kim as a simpleton, easy to manipulate, never considering his involvement in matters of global importance. Now, trapped by his own misjudgment, he knows he cannot allow him to escape. Outside, the night deepens around a stately building, its windows glowing softly. Back inside, rival man finally concedes, stating, "I'll do whatever you want." Hyun-Yu Kim simply replies, "Good." But even as the words are spoken, Hyun-Yu Kim thinks to himself, that is a lie. His gaze drifts to a framed photograph, a cherished memory of his sister and another woman, a silent reminder of his true motivations. He considers the thought of forgetting them, then dismisses it with a sharp internal retort. What? The building stands under the night sky. As his conviction solidifies, the only thing that can make me forget my own family is a lie. He holds the new phone in his hand, the circular emblem on its screen reflecting the light. This device, he realizes, is not the one he took from the assassin. The situation is becoming increasingly real, and the danger of being exposed by using the assassin's phone is too great, so he decides to use the one provided by the guild instead. Later, while dining with his sister, Shiryun, and another woman, he glances at his phone, prompting a surprised exclamation from Shiryun, who notes his frequent phone changes. She voices her concern that such a sudden change could expose him, wondering why he would risk it. He dismisses her worries, asking why she's making such a big deal out of it, assuring her it's nothing bad. He considers his next move, planning to impress the security company before even approaching the guild, feeling that the guild won't believe him without seeing the phone first. Shiryun, still confused, prompts him to elaborate. He looks at her with a determined expression, ready to finally explain the truth about his phone. That'll be enough, she states, her expression a mix of concern and slight exasperation. As they sit at the table, she grumbles about her new appearance, feeling foolish, while he simply continues to eat. She then gently urges him not to worry, telling him to just eat. He complies, focused on his meal. His thoughts drift to the powerful Ares Guild. He considers those influential organizations in the USA, the large guilds that possess the most power and wealth across the globe. He acknowledges that no other country sees guilds as strong or as dominant, snatching away opportunities like they do. With a determined resolve, he decides he will make a deal with the Ares Guild. As Hyun-Yu reaches for the car door, a voice from the passenger seat insists. But I am going. The car pulls away from the curb, carrying Hyun-Yu and his companion, Big Taehyun, into the night. Hyun-Yu, focused on the road ahead, instructs him to return home, explaining that he intends to go for a walk, which prompts a surprised query. Big Taehyun, turning to face him, questions the sudden decision, before conceding and offering to follow. Still somewhat bewildered, Big Taehyun can only manage a confused sound as the car continues its journey. Hyun-Yu, however, remains lost in his own thoughts, his mind clearly occupied with matters far beyond the present conversation. The vehicle glides silently down the dark, empty road. As Hyun-Yu continues to ponder, a soft sigh escaping him. Hyun-Yu Kim's journey ends at a clear exit point, his feet planted firmly on the marked floor. Suddenly, he finds himself on the ground, ambushed by shadowy figures, thinking, they came faster than I thought. One of the cloaked assailants hangs menacingly from above. As he, still prone, muses on their numbers, wondering aloud about the unexpected appearance of their leader. I was curious about how many people you'd send, but for you to appear yourself. A dark, cloaked figure now stands directly over him, while he internally questions, there's a person who's been following me, right? The group of cloaked figures issues a terse command, follow us. A slight smile plays on his lips as he challenges them. And what if I don't want to go? The cloaked figure retorts, then we'll drag you. He presses further, a guild director is following me, you mean? The figure's eyes glow with an ominous red light, but they offer no verbal response, leaving him to reiterate his defiance with a sharp, unwavering gaze. And what if I don't want to go? He is met with a chilling declaration from a cloaked figure, who vows to take him by force. Hyun-Yu Kim merely smirks, unfazed by the threat. The figure warns him of regret if he continues, believing they can defeat him. But Hyun-Yu Kim challenges their bravery. With a confident stride, he advances, causing one of the ambushers to recoil in a burst of blue energy. Now facing multiple cloaked assailants, he remains unfazed. He swiftly subdues one, asserting his dominance. Standing tall, he points forward, a clear victor. Hyun-Yu Kim's hand reaches down, retrieving a piece of cloth from his recently subdued opponent. When suddenly, another cloaked figure reacts with a sharp intake of breath, their masked eyes narrowing in surprise. The figure stands their ground, then stomps forward with a powerful, glowing step, the ground trembling beneath their foot. A blue aura flares around the cloaked assailant as they glare down, warning Hyun-Woo Kim not to underestimate them or look down on their abilities. Blue lightning crackles around them, as they vehemently declare their superiority, refusing to be grouped with lesser individuals like Chunks and Shin. The energy around the figure intensifies, flaring brightly as they prepare their attack. The man's face, now visible, contorts in a snarl, his eyes burning with conviction as he insists they are not of the same rank. With that declaration, a powerful blue energy impact erupts, striking its target with explosive force. The cloaked figure unleashes a devastating torrent of green energy, a raw, destructive force surging forward. As the attack connects, Hyun-Yu Kim cries out, a pained exclamation escaping him as a red aura flares around his body from the impact. Despite the blow, he attempts to defend, manifesting a green energy shield in a desperate effort to block the incoming assault. With fierce determination, he activates a skill, channeling green energy as the words drag, drain, strengthen, and focus flash around him. He continues to draw upon his power, the green aura intensifying as he prepares his counter. But the cloaked figure's assault proves too powerful, a concentrated green energy blast overwhelming Hyun-Yu Kim's defenses. The force of the blow sends him violently hurtling backward, a trail of blue energy streaking behind him. His eyes widen in profound shock, a look of disbelief etched across his face. The impact leaves him visibly damaged, his pants torn and residual blue energy clinging to his form, as he struggles to comprehend the overwhelming power he just faced. Still reeling from the devastating blow, Hyun-Yu Kim grits his teeth, his glowing blade held ready as the impact reverberates through him. The battle continues. A cloaked figure stands silently, their eyes glowing with an ethereal light as they face an unseen threat. Watching the unfolding scene, Hyun-Yu Kim can barely believe his eyes, a quiet disbelief escaping his lips. Red energy attacks surge forward, only to be met by an impenetrable force, leaving the attackers bewildered as their powers prove useless. Amidst the swirling red energy, the cloaked figure remains perfectly still, a silent, unyielding bulwark. From a distance, Big Taehyun watches, his expression hardening as he demands to know if his subordinates are finished with their futile efforts. Suddenly, a sharp impact echoes through the air, as one of the attackers is violently struck, crying out in pain. The force sends the assailant flying, their body tumbling helplessly through the dark space. A defeated assailant scrambles away in terror, his desperate cries echoing through the cavern. His hand recoils, still stinging from the impact, a stark reminder of the power he just faced. Cowering before the cloaked figure, the assailant pleads for his life, only to hear a calm, chilling response. "All right, I'll let you live." The cloaked figure's voice cuts through the silence, demanding guidance in exchange for mercy. His gaze piercing, the figure clarifies his objective. "Take me to the one who's been looking for me." Under the cover of night, they traverse the landscape, arriving in the Gyeonggi-do province, specifically the Gwangju city suburbs. Their destination reveals itself as a formidable structure, an underground bunker. Observing the fortified entrance, the cloaked figure remarks on the unusual concentration of power, noting that it seems all of Gwangju's hunters are gathered here, or perhaps someone is bleeding out within. With a determined expression, he urges them forward, musing that it's either thanks to the hunters or a chance to enjoy some peace, and perhaps something tasty awaits. Having arrived at the entrance of the underground bunker, the cloaked figure pauses, while elsewhere, a thought echoes in Hyun-Yu's mind. The superior is the one who gets the credit, right, Hyung? He considers the message on his phone, which reads, "Hunter Kim Hyun-Yu has been registered onto my team, and a firm decision forms. Just remove my name from the team." The cloaked figure remains at the threshold, as Hyun-Yu's internal monologue continues, reflecting on the unfairness of credit. "The bosses are going to be the ones who get the credit, right, Hyung?" He asserts, "I'm going to be the one who gets the credit." Deep within the cavernous bunker, a vast, dark space unfolds, filled with other cloaked figures in an imposing central structure. Where two of the cloaked individuals react with visible shock, a gasp escapes one of them. Now clad in a sleek black outfit, Hyun-Yu stands over a kneeling, cloaked figure, a silent question hanging in the air. He's in the right place? The kneeling figure, eyes wide with a mix of fear and urgency, confirms, "Why? Yes." The cloaked figure, still observing, reacts with a sudden realization. It is, followed by a sharp intake of breath. Hyun-Yu, standing on a rocky outcrop overlooking the desolate landscape, hears the revelation and questions, "T-Team 1. The cloaked observer behind him mutters, "No way." A voice echoes, questioning the sudden turn of events. A deafening roar reverberates through the confined space, growing louder with each passing moment. Big Taehyun, alongside the cloaked figure, reacts with alarm, wondering about the source of the commotion from above. The sound intensifies, clearly emanating from the elevator shaft, prompting a frantic warning that something is rapidly approaching. Suddenly, a figure, wreathed in a brilliant blue aura, plummets from the shaft, crashing down with immense force. Both Big Taehyun and the cloaked figure recoil in utter shock, stunned by the unexpected and violent arrival. Hyun-Yu lands, kicking up dust and debris, the impact shaking the very foundations of the bunker. As the dust settles, he stands amidst the wreckage, observing his new, unfamiliar surroundings with a critical eye. He continues his descent, the hole he created in the ceiling still crumbling around him, a testament to the sheer force of his arrival in this underground space. Suddenly, a man with a drawn sword steps forward, his voice sharp with challenge, demanding to know his identity and how he managed to breach their defenses. A confident smirk plays across the man's lips, his eyes narrowed in a mixture of defiance and amusement. Responding to the challenge, Hainyu's form ignites with a potent purple aura, his voice resonating with an ominous promise. I'm the guy who's going to send you all to hell. A cloud of smoke and dust billows through the chamber, revealing a stark, stone-walled dungeon, its oppressive atmosphere thick with the scent of damp earth and old iron. Amidst the scattered debris on the cold floor, a bare foot lies still. The dungeon walls are lined with various axes, each one a silent testament to the brutal purpose of this place. And now, the sword-wielding man, who had so confidently challenged Haiyu, is bound tightly to a wooden chair, his body enveloped in the same pulsating purple energy that Haiyu had emitted. He stares down at the captive, his voice a low demand, asking if she is finally ready to speak. Surrounded by silent, cloaked figures, the bruised woman looks up, her own voice weak as she questions if he truly understands her plight. Her face contorted in despair, she confesses that the path of the doubting god has abandoned her. Haiyu, arms crossed, warns her that any further resistance will surely lead to her demise. Kneeling on the cold stone, her bare feet visible, she desperately offers him anything he desires. A silent plea escapes her lips, her eyes wide with a desperate, unspoken request. A sharp, clicking sound accompanies Hainyu's growing fury, his eyes flaring with an intense red glow. Turning his back to the captive, he issues a chilling command to the cloaked figures. One of the cloaked figures, its red eyes glowing ominously, questions the severity of the order. It doesn't matter, the red-haired man declares, his voice cold and unwavering, as he insists she won't speak without further persuasion. He orders them to just burn her completely, and a cloaked figure responds with a simple, "Yes, sir." But before his cruel command can be carried out, a sudden, unseen force strikes, sending the red-haired man sprawling to the ground, his body surrounded by scattered weapons. A dark shoe appears beside his head, a silent question mark hanging in the air as a bright flash of light erupts, followed by a vibrant blue energy. And a glowing cross symbol materializes on the ground. The red-haired man's face contorts in a silent scream of shock and agony, his plans utterly shattered. Then, a pair of feet in striped sandals step into view, standing over the defeated figure. Haiyu Kim looks down at the fallen man, his voice calm as he asks, "Are you the one who's been looking for me?" He welcomes himself to the scene with a confident smirk, stating that it is good to be invited over. As the defeated man's eyes widen in disbelief, uttering a soft whoa. Meanwhile, the captive woman remains bound, her fate uncertain. Haiyu Kim continues, remarking on the antagonist's existing guests. The antagonist, still reeling, questions how he managed to appear. He then expresses concern for his team, the subordinates he had sent. Haiyu Kim casually dismisses his worries, suggesting they are merely unconscious. He gestures to the doorway, confirming his statement. A figure lies motionless on the cold ground, a dark-suited leg standing ominously nearby. A sharp gasp escapes him, his eyes widening in a mix of surprise and pain. Above him, a blade, glowing with a sinister red light, descends with terrifying speed. A cloaked assailant looms over the fallen Kim Hyun-woo, their knife poised for the killing blow, a chilling command echoing in the confined space. Die. Kim Hyun-wo. But Hainyu's eyes, now burning with fierce resolve, betray no fear as he prepares for a desperate counter. Before the blade can connect, a blur of motion, Hainyu strikes with devastating speed, a powerful blow connecting squarely with the cloaked figure. The assailant crumples to the ground, defeated, as Hainyu stands over them, his foot still raised from the decisive impact. Standing amidst the lingering dust and debris, Hainyu Kim lets out a quiet sigh, acknowledging his misjudgment of the recent threat. A slight smirk playing on his lips, he questions the unseen opponent's feigned innocence, wondering if they truly wish to avoid a confrontation. His gaze sharpens, his conviction absolute. Meanwhile, in a different, shadowed location, a man in a dark suit addresses the cloaked figure, confirming that Kim Hyun-woo is indeed a hunter, even if he is one. The man continues, his voice grave, estimating the hunter's rank to be at least an A, and revealing that the middlemen are fully invested in the situation. The cloaked figure, their face mostly obscured by shadow, responds with a hint of frustration, acknowledging that they cannot simply dispose of him, as he operates on the same formidable level, making him seemingly untouchable. A low groan escapes the cloaked figure, a bitter disappointment that the rumors of Hainyu Kim having left their group were unfounded. A monstrous creature, red-skinned and horned, flashes through their mind, a chilling reminder that the boss was simply too dangerous to defy. But Kim Hyun-woo. Hainyu Kim finds himself staring up at a man in a sharp suit, who begins to speak with a dismissive tone, calling him a bastard. The man continues, revealing his own status as an S-rank hunter. Kim Ja-hoon, the S-rank hunter, then demands his attention, asking if he is deaf. Hainyu Kim looks up, surprised by the direct challenge, uttering a confused "what?" The S-rank hunter continues, offering a stark choice. Either be buried alive, or sit down and talk. Hyun-Yu Kim's face contorts in anger, cursing the man and vowing to beat him. Despite his fury, he clenches his jaw, struggling to contain his emotions. Unfazed by the outburst, Kim Ja-hoon maintains his calm, cool demeanor, simply reiterating his demand to sit and talk. He considers his next move, knowing he must be absolutely certain before attempting to eliminate Hyun-Yu Kim. Advising against further provocation, he states it's best not to stir the pot. With a satisfied expression, he then prepares to continue. His gaze sharpens as he asks if they should discuss compensation. The thought echoes in his mind that this man intends to kill him. Feigning confusion at the reaction, he presses on, demanding compensation for his own perceived efforts. Suddenly, an unfamiliar man interjects, his voice filled with accusation, blaming him for the damage caused and for sending hunters. As the man continues his furious tirade, claiming hunters were sent to kill him, a vibrant green aura erupts around Hyun-Yu Kim, his eyes glowing with raw power. The accuser points to a news report about Hyun-Yu Kim's guild merger, concluding that the fault lay entirely with him from the very beginning. Kim Ja-hoon's voice drips with condescension, questioning if his counterpart even bothered to review the terms, prompting Hyun-Yu Kim to demand his intentions. As papers and currency flutter around them, a substantial reward is laid out. Kim Ja-hoon gestures to the piles of cash, an appreciation of $10 million, and on top of that, he adds, a few luxury cars would make them more than satisfied. Hyun-Yu Kim's expression hardens, his jaw clenching in silent fury. With a sharp, decisive motion, Kim Ja-hoon slams his hand down on the table, scattering papers. He glares, demanding to know if Hyun-Yu Kim has lost his mind, who can only respond with a bewildered what. Kim Ja-hoon insists that his offer is more than generous, believing it to be sufficient for them. As a vibrant green aura flares around him, Hyun-Yu Kim's anger finally boils over, cursing the man before him. Unfazed, Kim Ja-hoon continues, specifying that the $10 million should go to the Low-Level Hunter Association, but the rights to that association would then belong to him. The scattered documents detail requests and priorities, with one particular file highlighting the potential loss of priority on new hunters. Kim Ja-hoon dismisses the concerns, stating that he isn't interested in wasting time on such trivial matters. Hyun-Yu Kim looks on, a hint of confusion on his face, as a document clearly labeled Hunter Kim Hyun-woo is presented. Kim Ja-hoon presses him further, questioning why he rejected the money if that's what he truly desired. He then speculates if Hyun-Yu Kim is seeking prestige, urging him to state his true intentions if there's something else he's after. Kim Ja-hoon offers a tempting proposition, guaranteeing Hyun-Yu Kim anything he desires if he joins Ares. Hyun-Yu Kim, however, finds the idea of dealing with mana in front of a dungeon gate much easier to handle on his own. Kim Ja-hoon sighs, expressing his frustration with how difficult Hyun-Yu Kim is to deal with. Hyun-Yu Kim, his patience wearing thin, demands to know what Kim Ja-hoon is truly talking about, reiterating that he is only there for compensation. Restrained and tied to a chair, Hyun-Yu Kim watches as his captor issues a command, declaring that the other one should also be bound. The man then turns his attention back to Hyun-Yu Kim, a condescending smirk playing on his lips as he muses about their shared arrogance, believing themselves to be so great. His expression hardens slightly, accusing Hyun-Yu Kim that any defeat they face will inevitably be blamed on him. Kim Ja-hoon's patience wears thin, his voice rising in frustration as he demands to know why Hyun-Yu Kim is still talking about Ares. He leans closer, his gaze intense as he orders Hyun-Yu Kim to stop wasting time and simply answer his question. A final, chilling ultimatum hangs in the air as Kim Ja-hoon offers a stark choice: agree to his proposal or continue this conversation until one of them is dead. Despite his predicament, Hyun-Yu Kim's eyes narrow with defiance, his voice laced with a warning that Kim Ja-hoon is about to lose his confidence. A loud crash echoes through the night, emanating from a tall, unassuming building. Inside, Hyun-Yu Kim sits on a couch, engrossed in his phone, while another figure stands nearby, the air thick with an unspoken tension. Suddenly, his eyes widen in surprise, a silent gasp escaping him as he reacts to something unseen. Moments later, he is outside, carrying an unconscious red-haired woman on his back, a bewildered question escaping his lips, wondering who she could possibly be.